Oh, right. Oh, Farm Boy's already in chat here.
Of course he is.
Yeah, man, he's ready to go. I'm super excited here. All right, welcome to the show, everybody. This is going to be episode 27 of Starlight Beacon Transmissions live. Well, this isn't our 27th live episode, but this is our 27th episode. We have a fun show for you tonight. But before we get started and do our introductions, I just want to take a moment. Since today is 9/11, I felt that we should, just share a moment of silence. A moment of silence. I'm so sorry that I messed that up, but I want to share a moment of silence for those that we lost on this day 20 years ago. This was, it was the single biggest attack on our country, and we lost a lot of people. So please join me in a moment of silence, and then we are going to get into all of the fun, I promise you. All right. Um, I just want to thank you all for joining us in that as well. So let's get to the fun here. It's our Saturday night ritual, and this is actually the first in a string of brand new content that we have coming for you, and we're gonna get to that in just a little bit. But joining me, I have a great panel joining me today. Joining me, coming back, making their returns. It's our two favorite people, John and Joey from OTN Media. John, Joey, how are you guys?
Doing well, Eric. Always a pleasure to be on. Thanks for having us again.
Oh yeah, not
Yeah,
a
thanks, man.
problem.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I figured for Star Wars games, what better, what who better to have on than you guys. And for those of you that are wondering who this guy in the bottom corner is, this is Greg, the remix
Yo,
from the Lunchbox Productions. Did I say that right?
publications. We always get productions.
Publications.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. We're already used to it. Thank you so much. It's
I
been a long time coming.
I,
We get it. No. It's fine.
I even had it in the show notes as
It is
publications, and I
okay.
had
It is
one
okay.
job.
It's fine. I mean, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it. I mean, it's great to see the OTN boys up in here because
Yeah.
again, I miss them. I mean, I'm super proud of them, especially what they've been doing for the esports community in the DMV area. And again, I'm proud of you, good sir, because hey, I mean, Starlight's been doing kicking it, and I'm like, I gotta get into that podcast one of these days. And when you said video games, I had to come in. I had to.
Yeah.
There was no way. So thank you for having me.
Uh, Farm Boy just wants to ask, can all on the screen see the live chat? So if you guys are able to,
Yes.
yes, they can see the live chat. We are good to go here. Thank you, Farm Boy. So, uh, Greg, tell us a little bit about your Star Wars journey, because I have to ask this question to all of our guests just to see, like, where you started and what it's
Okay.
been
Oh
like.
boy. Oh geez. Well, to be fair and honest with you, because I know the OTN guys told me like you got to ask him the same questions. I was like, damn. Okay, I'll do my best. I'll do the best I can. Well, first and foremost, yeah, I'm a '90s kid. I was born in 1990. My uncle, rest in peace, he introduced, and even my father. They both introduced me to Star Wars. I started off with the original Episode 4, A New
Yep.
Hope, and it just kicked off from there. I mean, it got to the point where we did have the original, and it's downstairs in my one of my storage bins. We have that gold edition VHS set that
Oh,
came
the
with.
special
Ooh.
edition
Yes,
one.
yes, we still have
Yes.
that. We
Go
have one of
grab it.
those. We have one of those,
Go
and we have
grab it.
another one. It's somewhere downstairs, and I'll show you something really cool that I just purchased also, and I didn't show anybody yet on social media. So you
Sure.
guys are lucky. This is the first. So apparently, I got all three sets. I have like, of course, the Blu-ray set, of course, with
Hmm.
Darth Vader in the front and stuff for episodes 1 through 6, and I did watch the remastered episode 4 when it hit theaters and stuff when it came out in months and stuff
Yep.
like that. I did watch that in theaters, and my love of Star Wars grew from there, especially in the video game and the comic books of it.
Yeah.
And of course, got the apparel. I'm a sucker for Under Armour. I'm not sponsored, folks, but I gotta wear it. And to show my appreciation, I do use Dr. Squatch, and I did get the box set. So I did get the limited
Oh,
edition set with all of the 4 soaps. Haven't opened or used them yet because that's how good they are.
oh,
Oh
That's
my
that is
awesome.
gosh.
beautiful.
It's oh my goodness, it smells great. Like, oh my gosh, it's like the
Out
smell
of
is just
curiosity,
unbearable.
how much did that box run?
I think it was $40. It was literally $40
For
because
$4 of soap?
That's not
because
bad at
it's
all.
special edition, and I think they still have it. I'm not too sure,
Oh.
but I know. But I got sucked in. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
Okay, do they have unique scents? I have to ask.
Yes, they do. They do.
Okay,
I don't
you,
mind
you gotta
smell
you gotta
review.
lay it on
No.
us. Yeah.
Smell
I
review.
don't. I mean, like it's
Dark side
that-
scrub. Let's go.
Wisdom wash, dark side. That's
Wisdom
beautiful.
wash, only hope soap,
Ruthless
and
rinse.
that's awesome.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
That
You
is
keep the
great.
first two. I'll take the last two on the right.
It's funny because my father ever since episode 1 came out back in '99, he's a huge sucker for Darth Maul, and yes, he nerded out with the ending of Solo. Spoiler alert! If y'all haven't watched it, shame on you. It was a great movie.
Yeah, what's
Solo
wrong with
2.
you people?
Solo 2, please.
Yes.
So,
Knock up.
so, so basically, my father actually he has downstairs unopened. He will not give it away. The Force Effects Darth Maul lightsaber.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
like pops. He was like, "Hey, you got your special edition games. I got my special edition Darth Maul stuff." I'm like,
Hey,
"Fine."
Garrick, how's it going?
And, but
Yeah.
other than that, episode 4 brought me into the world of Star Wars and stuff. I mean, again, I shouts to my uncle and of course my father. They got me into it, and from there, just the storylines of it,
Yeah.
and the expanded universe, especially with the comic books. I grew up reading the Rogue Squadron comic book series
Oh, yeah.
personally, and I got my sisters, even though they have a huge love of Star Wars themselves as well. Pretty much in this house, you know what? Just for you, Phil. Like literally, this house is divided between Sith and the dark side and the light side, just like the Washington football team and the Baltimore Ravens in this house. I'm like, here we go, and like back and forth banter, back and forth. Like, well, Luke Skywalker can do this. Well, Darth Vader can do. Here we go. So just in this house itself,
Bringing balance to the force in the house.
which is why
absolutely.
I picked
Greg
Grey
is the
Jedi.
chosen one.
I was like looking left and right, like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully that answers your questions, and
Yeah, man.
I can't wait to get to the games part aspect because I
Yeah.
have a lot to say. I have a lot to say.
Yeah, me too. It's awesome that I think like a lot of us in 97 we went to the theater and saw the special edition trilogy. That was I mean like I had seen it on TV with my dad, but
Mhm.
like seeing it in theaters for the first time, it's like watching it for the first time. There's something just completely different about it. And for you to have that VHS set, that is amazing for the special editions. That's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing your
No
Star Wars
problem.
story
Thank
and
you.
welcome to the show. So before we get into games, we just have a couple of quick news topics or a couple of quick announcements and then news topics. So next week on the 18th is our High Republic show. We are going to be diving into all things High Republic, covering the first 2 waves of Phase 1. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have a great group joining me for that one. Then, the week after that, we have Starlight Live on the 25th. Then, on the 26th, that is the start of our RPG show. We are going to be playing an Old Republic RPG that is going to be starting on the 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern. These 3 guys are 3 of our players. So get ready for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, you know what? I wanted to do this. It doesn't cover Star Wars, but I don't care. On October 16th, we are going to be doing a DC Fandom live recap talking about all of the announcements that come out of that event. So stay tuned for that. So that's all of our announcements. If you miss them, don't worry. We post on Twitter all the time about it. So stay tuned to your social media. Any other announcements, guys, before we get into the news? Besides the Death Star cloaking devices or anything like that? No? Okay. So let's briefly get into the news here. We are 2 weeks away from Star Wars Visions. That will be premiering on Disney Plus on the Don't worry, we post on Twitter all the time about it. That will be premiering on Disney Plus on the 22nd. Which is awesome. All the episodes will be premiering on Disney Plus on the 22nd, which is really cool. These are 9 short Star Wars anime stories set within the universe. They are not canon, so they can go wherever they want. I know that we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, guys. John, Joey, you guys were on that show. But just what stories are you looking forward to for this one?
Pull them back up.
Who wants to go first?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
I
mean,
gotta pull them back up.
I'll be completely honest. The idea of a non-canonical Star Wars anime is just really fascinating because if they're gonna go with the true style and aspect of what anime really does offer and provide,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a very, very unique experience. And I think, like I mentioned on the last show that you had us on in regards to this, it's really gonna be a moment to open up these two camps, the super anime fans and the super Star Wars fans that may not already cross over into that world of anime or into that world of Star Wars. From what we've seen from the little animation that we have, I feel like there's going to be a very good opportunity for that to happen. Based upon what we know from these episodes and what we're expecting to see, with all the studios involved, it's going to vary across the board. But I feel like that's going to benefit the Star Wars fans that may not be into anime because then they're going to be able to see different ways that anime can tell a story, even in the Star Wars universe. So really, I mean, I'm excited for every single one of them. I'm already planning on taking a sick day that day, so I can just binge watch all of them. It's not going to happen. I'm the only one in the office. My coworker quit. It's not going to happen. But yeah, I think they all sound great. Obviously, there are some just based upon the voice actors that are going to be in it that kind of stand out a little bit more than the others. But overall, I think everyone, going into it should go in with an open mind and just be receptive to the different style of Star Wars we're going to see.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I mean, unless courtside wants to go. I mean,
no, go for it, Greg. Jump in.
If I may share and stuff like that, like
Sure.
first seeing the trailer itself, throughout like the entire 2 minutes of it, I got goosebumps because the last time we actually saw something that was officially licensely made, not saying anything that's fan made and stuff like that, and but fan art and stuff of artists drawing the characters or like scenery in an anime format, was pretty close to, I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you remember we had that Star Wars manga that covered episodes 4, 5, and 6, but they put it in the manga format? I feel you remember what I'm talking about, right? And so yeah, like that was something that was official from them. And now with LucasArts teaming up with these studios, especially with these anime studios who have made Kill la Kill, Legend of the or Rising of the Sword Hero, and Little Witch Academia, and to like venture off into a Star Wars property, that's a pretty big deal, especially since we're going to see different animation formats and different storylines, and especially like, hold up, we saw Boba Fett in that trailer, quote unquote. Maybe how are they going to tell this, or how they're going to tell a pod racing story with that? Because we saw the racetrack in there, and it's pretty cool. And all I can say is, like, when we showed my father the trailer, and he's an anime person himself, he grew up also reading comic books and Lone Wolf and Cub, that manga series. When he saw that, he was like, whoa. He just said, whoa, like that. So we're really excited. We can't wait. I mean, at this point, since I'm the only one in this house paying the Disney Plus subscription, what's the password so we can add it in our tablets and stuff?
The
Here's the
password's
password.
$5 in my hand.
Exactly. No,
Are any
For the
capitals in
Disney
that?
bundle.
but again, they're excited. I mean, I did not know all episodes, so it's not going to release like What If
No.
or what. Really?
No, all
Yeah.
at
Wow.
once.
Thank
They
Wow,
God.
that's
they
crazy.
they showed the poster this week. And if you go to StarWars.com, you can show it, and we retweeted it earlier this week. They show the
What?
poster, and the poster is similar to the Rogue One Star Destroyer poster that they
Yeah,
had like in select theaters, and it says all episodes streaming on September 22nd. So
that's
I'm
crazy.
super excited about this. They're probably going to be 10, 15-minute episodes probably.
Oh yeah,
I, I
yeah.
I don't I don't think they'll go like half an hour, but that's huge. Joey, what do you got, bud?
I'm going to go a little bit off to the side here. So I like that we're talking about them, and I think they're unique. Like we talked about, I think it was what, 2 shows ago at this point.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I don't know if we've touched on too much is we as Star Wars fans are super excited for these because we like anime as well. I think the thing that not people are not touching on as much is the fact that anime fans could get brought into Star Wars as well.
Yeah.
As you're looking at all these people who watch anime, and like Greg was saying, there's so many famous studios, like 7 famous studios working on these different
Mhm.
visions in a sense of Star Wars. So knowing that they're non-canon, I think opens up a little bit of space for Star Wars fans to not be as hypercritical as we've seen them in the past. But also on the anime side, like
Just a little bit.
people who have already dove into these studios can now tap into that potential and potentially look to come into Star Wars a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that this is an opportunity to really bring in a huge group of fans and to introduce them. And they're starting to do that with manga, which actually
Mhm.
leads us to our next topic here. Uh, so this week was the release of two very big, well, actually a bunch of Star Wars books. There were a couple of re-releases in the Essential Legends collection. So if you've never read a Legends book, but you really want to get into that, there were a few releases for that. I think the Thrawn trilogy might have finished up with this week's release, and I know Rogue Squadron was coming out. The Rogue Squadron novelization from Michael Stackpole. So this week we had Edge of Balance, which is the High Republic manga, which is absolutely incredible. I highly recommend this. It's a very quick read. It's under 150 pages, so really really quick. This is Lily Toraasi. She is a Jedi Knight assigned to the outpost on Banshee, which is a brand new outer rim planet that has been colonized by the Republic. This takes place after the Great Hyperspace Disaster. So, like, actually, it starts with the Great Hyperspace Disaster from Light of the Jedi, and then it's post Rising Storm. So they mention some of the events in the Rising Storm, which, if you haven't read the Rising Storm, you need to, because it's really good. So I highly recommend this, especially if you're kind of hesitant about manga. This one doesn't like really read as a manga. Like you can see like you kind of go left to right, front to back with this as you wouldn't with a regular manga, but highly recommend it. It's $15. You can't go wrong with that. It's about the size of a graphic novel. So there's that. And then we had the Life Day Treasury, and we've had a lot of fun talking about Life Day lately, especially John and I's plan to go to Disney and pitch the Star Cruiser Life Day experience for $8,000 per
Per
person for
person.
4 days
Per
for
person.
for a single hey killer for a single person for a single room on the Galactic Star Cruiser. Uh, and you get
Heavily structured. You're never getting
yes,
off the ship. You're
no,
never going down to Batu. You're staying
you just
on the
go in
ship
orbit.
for this event.
You just stay in orbit
$8,000.
around Batu. All you have to do is like look out the window. But yes, this is the Life Day Treasury. I highly recommend it,
Mhm.
especially if you're a High Republic fan. The first story actually deals with Stellan Gios, who's one of the masters in the High Republic, and he actually takes center stage here. So highly recommend that. And what did you guys think? I know that some of you, hey, Emsh. So I want to know what you guys think about the manga thing, because we've already talked about anime here, and um with this manga coming out, and we've had a few others like the Leia Princess of Alderaan adaptation, the Lost Stars adaptation, Rebels has gotten a manga now for a few volumes. Guardians of the Wills just got a manga adaptation. Is this gonna bring in? I mean, are we like in the same boat here with Visions, where it's gonna bring in a new group of people that aren't familiar with Star Wars?
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean, anytime you have a different form of media,
yeah,
kind of taking that branch and kind of extending it out there, there's always a chance. There's
yeah,
also always the chance that it won't work.
yeah,
Um, with mangas, it's if it's published in the traditional style, uh, it doesn't read right to left. It goes left to right,
yep,
and that may throw some people a little bit, and it takes some time. But at the same time, I feel like again, um, it's a different way of telling a story. So,
yeah,
maybe if a traditional Western comic can't hit you right when it comes to telling a story, maybe a manga can. Because if there's one misconception when it comes to animes and manga, is that it's like, oh, they're for kids. It's kind of like the whole thing with Star Wars. Like, oh, it's a kids thing that talks about very adult and
yes.
very
Yeah.
real life things that I'm sorry, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old is not going to understand.
Like the allocation
Um,
of trade routes.
exactly, or having to blow up Alderaan because we're not going to go there. But you know, there are certain things that it talks about um that can reach different people and the way they consume that media. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think bringing in more manga into the Star Wars space is 100% a correct move.
Yeah, and while whoever wants to talk next, I just want to show this as we're talking. This is the Jedi Temple on this new planet. Like, I mean, the artwork is absolutely incredible in this thing. Um, we're even introduced to a Wookiee Jedi Master.
Oh,
That is a first. I have
Well,
never.
we've actually gotten a few Wookiees in the High Republic now,
Oh man.
but there he is. His name's Master Arkoff.
I
But
mean, is
yeah,
nobody else concerned that a lightsaber is going to set their fur on fire? Am I the only one looking out for the Wookiees here? Like,
you would put him on Bespin, wouldn't you?
hey, hey. We're not
Right.
going there.
Okay. But anybody have any other thoughts on the manga thing?
As
Especially like what John said. Sorry.
as I said, I mean, like John definitely hit it on the mark because, and you all did also. I mean, it's definitely going to bring a huge audience in, especially if they have never been introduced to Star Wars in their
Yeah.
lives, especially if they've been focusing on, again, other forms of media and entertainment, which is fine. As I said like earlier, I did read, and this was back in early 2000s, the episodes 4, 5, and 6 turned into a manga format
Yeah.
and stuff being told. And to see this finally happening with the new High Republic series, it's definitely gonna, how should I say, add on to that, like, hey, Star Wars isn't gonna be stopping in just these type of novels and this type of Western comic formats. It's gonna be branched out to even the manga and even the anime format as well. And let's not forget, George Lucas himself was inspired by Akira Kurosawa's The Seven
Yes.
Samurai when making Star Wars itself. So,
Yep.
so that's another thing
Yeah.
to think about.
And that's an argument that we have a lot, like especially when it comes to Visions and now this
Mhm.
manga, where a lot of people have said, "Well, George wouldn't want this because he wasn't influenced by this." Really? Because watch an interview with him, because he'll tell you straight up that he
Akira
was influenced.
Kurosawa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he'll mention that stuff.
Oh man.
The Farm Boy says over 45 years there have been many doors to bring new fans to this galaxy. There
Mhm.
have, but it just feels
Mhm.
like right now is the time when like we're really starting to get a lot more people in. And I think that has to do with, let's say, the power of Disney's money. Disney had a lot better marketing than, I mean, 20th Century Fox had a lot of marketing,
Yeah.
but Disney has a lot more money. They bring in a lot more people, all of that. So you're seeing the Disney money there. Anything about the Life Day Treasury? Are you guys going to check it out, or are you guys just do I need to do story time like off the show and just read you guys bedtime
I'm not going
stories?
to object to that.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
mean,
gonna
You're not
object
going to
either.
object to
I'll,
that?
I'll, I'll go
Okay.
grab my blanket real quick. I'll snuggle up. I'll have myself a little cup of hot cocoa. You can just read to me, Eric. It's completely fine.
Okay, fine. I'll do that. I'll use my NPR voice for that.
No, that's
Ooh.
again, that's a good idea, especially to see more cultures and
Yeah.
generations, and of course like lifestyles, and especially for this universe. So it's
Oh
really a
yeah.
good idea. Hmm.
And for the Life Day thing to see like Kevin Scott and George Mann, like kind of you can see influences from other holidays, like religious holidays that happened in the wintertime in this Life Day special. And it's just really, really neat. I know, like I said, we've talked about this and how we want like Life Day experiences in the parks. We want to see more of that. I know a few of us are going to be getting the Life Day cookbook in November. Yes, I'll have to send you the link to that, Greg.
Thank you, because
But we,
I've been cooking. I've been cooking.
I know you've been cooking. Um, but we have all of these things, and it's finally cool to see that they're going all in on these things. Even with the Halloween stuff. Oh, let's talk Halloween real quick before we get to the KOTOR thing. We had the release of the Lego Star Wars Halloween special that's going to be on Disney Plus, starting October 1st. And I gotta say, this trailer hit every note for me. I'm not a huge like horror movie fan, but this trailer hit every single note for me, and I thought that it was really funny. Reminded me of some of the uh, Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes a little bit, and I just think it's fun. What did you guys watch this trailer? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I have. I mean, I do have a 9-year-old nephew, Evan,
Nice.
or you guys know him as BMO from for all you guys who watch my stuff. But he's into the Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars games from time to time. He definitely saw the trailer. I mean, we were like, huh. And in the past, we've seen the Lego Star Wars animation shorts, but it looks fun and interesting, especially since you're gonna see a little comedic, obviously a comedic factor to it for it because it is Lego Star Wars, actually. But it also gives that just gist of it, like it's gonna be fun,
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, like this is gonna be a fun and chill movie if I think about it. So yeah.
The thing that got to me was the Shining reference at the end with the battle droid.
Yes.
Um, like that to me, just that sealed it for me, like right there. And I think that that's going to be the best joke in the special. John, you saw this. What did you think?
I thought it was great. I mean, I think Joey hit on it a couple episodes ago when we were talking about. I think I really think everyone did.
Yeah,
Lego has that unique ability to interject comedy in really weird places, whether it's in their video games or their shows or their shorts or whatever they do with it. And that's exactly what we got here in this trailer. Also, like, for maybe the younger fans out there might be some moments where they might get their heart racing a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like, those jokes like the droid and the shining kind of thing is for the older fans. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, 6-year-old Bobby over here is not going to be watching the shining. At least I hope not.
Unless his parents are punishing him and want to traumatize him.
For real,
No.
So I mean, yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah,
I was really excited for it. I'm excited to watch it, but I think it's gonna have the right amount of spookiness for the younger ages, but the right amount of humor for everyone.
yeah. Joey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to John. I don't think it's going to be that spooky.
Yeah,
Like, you'll get some little things here and there, but overall, it's about the humor for me, and I think they'll hit it right on the head.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And one of the other funny jokes was the gift shop in Vader's castle with the Darth Vader
Yeah.
animatronic breaking down. Like that to me was really funny. So let's start to shift in here because we had one more big news topic that's actually going to bring us into our main topic of the evening, and that is during Sony's PlayStation event this week, which I did not watch. I caught some highlights for. but boo. I was working. I was really swamped.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Dang.
How dare you provide for your wife? Now I just lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Focus, young Padawan.
Yeah, focus. I'm one with the force, and the force is
These
with
are the topics you're looking for.
Thank you. So during the PlayStation event, it was Aspire Media actually unveiled this trailer, and we are getting a Knights of the Old Republic remake. This is going to be a from the bottom up remake of the original Knights of the Old Republic. If you remember from the early 2000s, Knights of the Old Republic was from BioWare. It was actually an Xbox exclusive and one of the best Star Wars games of all time. And we're actually going to get into that here in a little bit. But this is going to be on PlayStation 5 as well as PC. And a lot of people keep not saying that it's going to be on PC because everybody's excited for this to be on PS5. Let's talk about our reactions here because I saw the cinematic. I know that you guys saw the cinematic too. What were your thoughts like when this cinematic hit? And whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
All right, I'll go. I don't care. I may have had the best reaction, and I'm so glad nobody was in my office when I did this.
Okay.
Fully knowing that this was in the works, it doesn't matter. As soon as I saw that it was, as soon as I saw, the whole Lucas Arts or Lucas Games, whatever logo pop up there, and then you hear the beginning of the Sith code. Then you see this dark figure. And then you see the red lightsaber. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, because it was kind of a blur, I started jumping up and down and screaming at my computer at work. And again, nobody was there, thank God.
Yeah.
But and I think I said it on the show as well when we were talking about Starfield. If not, it was definitely on Level Up with Joey. Sometimes when you announce a game, you don't need game footage. You don't need in-game cinematics. You don't need anything. You need an intention grabber. You need a climax, and then you need the logo. That's all you need. Starfield did it incredibly well. I think, for this announcement, I mean, if it can get me jumping out of my desk and screaming at my computer, and I'm supposedly an adult, that's all it needed. And it was absolutely freaking fantastic. 21st Century Graphic Revan, my God, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And Joey is actually going in chat here. For those of you that are concerned about it being on PS5 or concerned with getting a PS5, Joey actually said, reassured Garrick, especially in chat, it'll be on PC as well on day one and Xbox 1 year later. So this is actually going to be PlayStation exclusive and PC exclusive for only 1 year. And then it'll actually go to Xbox as well. So if you have to wait, just wait. It's coming to you. Joey, go ahead.
So I got to toot our horn a little bit on this one. We actually leaked this back in January of this year. We gave the development studio, we talked about the game, all of those details we dropped in our Discord back in January. So really happy about that it's finally stuck 9 months later. On top of that, one of the other big things, and we'll get more into this when we talk about the game itself, the original was very turn-based.
Yes.
So it was a turn-based mechanic as far as combat and everything goes. This new one will be taking a different direction. So it is a fresh, I believe the term is remake as opposed to remaster. So a remaster is going to be more graphical based. This is a full remake of the game. A lot of the story will stay somewhat similar, but there are going to be different mechanics and things involved.
Nice. Greg, hit me.
Well, the Lunchbox Publications, we just like what Joy said, we were like talking about it also, we as a rumor first, and we were like, we'll stick to it. And hey, months after when we got the news, especially for a PlayStation showcase, I'm like, when I got my reaction, because again, I think I was just like chilling and watching, and when I saw Reddit, I was like, my eyes just widened. I was like, and I got flashbacks of my youngest sister stealing the Xbox controller so she can play her time on the original KOTOR after
Yes.
playing Psychonauts 1 and stuff. And she's doing it again for Psychonauts 2. And when I
Nice.
told her the news, she was like, prepare to get your PlayStation 5 taken away when this game is out. I'm like, come on. And
Wait, you
she's like,
actually have a PlayStation 5?
yeah, I was able to get a PS5 on day
Who'd have
one.
thunk?
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen one in person. I've seen
No.
Series X, Xboxes. I've never seen a PS5 in person.
I was able to get one on day one thanks to some help with some good friends. Again, this was the whole entire showcase was great. Again, for them to bring out that news first was amazing. Like flashbacks of having multiple playthroughs of like
Yeah.
which side, of course, the light and dark side. Like, hey, if I make this decision, what can I do here? What can I do next? And what can I do like afterwards and stuff like that? What could I have done differently? And of course, we know BioWare. They're also famous for Mass Effect and Dragon Age. It's gonna be a good one. So like here's hoping. And you're right, there hasn't had, you don't need to show any gameplay footage,
Nope.
just a teaser of what's to come and stuff. And PS5 owners, and of course actually anybody even on PC and Xbox, look forward to this because it's going to be
Yeah.
one hell of a ride.
Yeah, Garrick, with the observation in chat here, there's a lot of KOTOR remake Revan profile pics on
Yes.
Twitter now. Yes, there are tons.
Yep.
I know that I know personally I'm excited for this. KOTOR is one of my all-time favorite games, especially when it comes to Star Wars gaming. And to see this really got me excited, especially having an Xbox and a gaming PC. So like if I don't get it on Xbox, I can get it on my gaming PC. And I think that this is just going to be the this is going to be amazing. Now, Joey, you talked about the combat here. Is it going to be similar to the combat that we got in the Final Fantasy VII remake, kind of like that hack and
Oh,
slash?
So all I've been told is that it's new and it's not turn-based. If I
Okay.
had to assume, and with where Sony typically puts all their big money in, it's third-person action adventure type of game. So I would assume it's that third-person style.
Okay. Kind of like fluid motions during combat and stuff like what we
Yeah,
got
more
with
like
like
a
Final
Ghost of
Fantasy.
Tsushima type of
Yeah.
thing, a God of War, but not as like cinematic as those, but that same kind of, I don't know if it'll be behind the back, but at least third-person action adventure RPG type of style.
Yeah. And this is going to be a remake of the original story. We're going to get, as Joey said, it's pretty much going to be the original story. Now, with the original story, it took place, John, was it 3,000 years before or 4,000 years before?
Believe it was 3,000.
Yeah. And this is during the Jedi or the Republic Sith conflict, which was heavily influenced or heavily talked about in the old EU, which is now Legends. And this game would count as Legends. And this is actually going to shift us to our topic here of Star Wars video games. And our first topic is going to be KOTOR because
4,000.
4,000, and then 2 was 1,000 years. That's right, 2 was 1,000, or 2 was 3,000 years because it was 1,000 years after the original. This is such an epic story. You play as a character named pretty much Revan, who was a former Sith Lord that can go back to the dark side if you want, based on your choices. This is a BioWare game, so all of your choices have consequences in this game. This game, I remember playing it and I was blown away by the characters. The characters and the story really make this game, especially the droid HK-47 who inspired K2SO in a way. HK-47 is a droid that you probably don't want to walk down a dark alley with. And you
I
kind of,
would.
well, I know you would. And you kind of don't want to walk by a cliff with him because he's probably going to push you over. Similar to Chopper. Chopper would do that too. So let's get into this. This game spans the entire galaxy, but we don't really get to Coruscant. But um, there's these maps. I remember these maps being really big for it being on the original Xbox, and it was kind of open world in a way. Um, John, I kind of want to go to you for this because you're kind of my Old Republic guy here.
Uh-oh.
And Joey, if you want to join in, and Greg, you too. What were I'm going to ask you here to kind of dive back into 20 years ago when we played this
Oh
game.
man.
What
I don't even remember
were
what I had for breakfast. You want me to go 20 years back now?
I do I do.
All right. All right, here we go.
But like, what were your impressions of this game, and like, what were your favorite moments, um, and who's your favorite character in these games?
I mean, this is the game that made me fall in love with Revan. I mean, as a character, the fact that, up until this point, we only had the movies.
Yep.
It came out in 2003, so it was before Episode 3 came out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of people, especially in our generation, we started to have the prequel. That was like our trilogy that we grew up with, and now we had this game come out that doesn't really mess with what we've seen in theaters, but adds like this whole new, unique experience.
Yeah.
And the idea of, someone going to the dark side and then coming back to the light side was like, it was weird. Like the only thing we saw prior, like similar to that, was Vader.
Yeah.
But when he came back to the light side, he was killed. So, tragedy. But with Revan, like it was such a unique character. And the fact that you didn't know that you were Revan,
Yeah.
that you were this person that has such a rich history and background was just absolutely amazing. I think my favorite part has to be the reveal.
Yeah.
That moment was just kind of like, it was absolutely shocking. The other thing I remember for a 2003 game, I still hated the in-game mechanics.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of that. I re-downloaded and tried playing it like a month ago, and I remembered why I hated it. Just not a fan. So I was happy to hear that the mechanics are hopefully going to be changed. But what made that game so great was how it was able to tell the story, how it was able to like explain the lore, and really you had a hand in creating that lore as that game went on. That was something really unique and something we never really had in Star Wars up until that point. I think that's one of the reasons why it rated so highly, was because with that prequel trilogy, still coming out, 2 episodes in to that prequel trilogy, people wanted more. They wanted more story. They wanted more background. And that's what this game really did provide. And it was just very rich in content.
Yeah. Who else? I totally agree. Who else wants to go next?
As I'm speaking to you guys right now. Oh, I just re-downloaded KOTOR right now on Steam. So yeah.
Enjoy the combat.
Yeah. First and foremost, this game definitely brought back memories, especially since the old times, and I'm definitely gonna bring it back 20 years ago. The dark times, when you guys remember those old-fashioned demo kiosks at Best Buy where we had to stand in the middle. Yes. KOTOR was being played in one of them, and
oh wow,
it gets nuts because next to Halo, there was something else. And Psychonauts, there was something else that needed the Xbox to like. I'm not gonna say like, again, we grew up with PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. Yeah. The thing is, and I told my sisters, we have to get a new Xbox game. I mean, cool, we're playing Killzone. Well, I'm playing Killzone and this. You guys they're not playing Killzone. You guys are playing Super Mario Sunshine and that, and you guys don't play Halo. And I know Larnie is the only one playing Psychonauts and Fable. There has to be something else that can get us, as like a family, just to like the old school backseat gaming with your siblings and stuff like that, right? And KOTOR was
it wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. Because
talk to that guy.
No, that's what happened. I forgot which quest it was, because one of my sisters was like, "No, don't do that. Don't trust him." I was like, "What? Don't give him the artifact." Okay. Yeah. So again, when we played in the mini kiosk in Best Buy, when we played KOTOR, my sister was the first one to try. She was like, "Hey, get this one. It's Star Wars." What? Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I've seen this game. It was reviewed on XPlay. Yeah, check it." And we stood there for it. Do you remember the introduction mission, right?
Yeah.
Like the one where we have to get off the ship. We stayed there for a good 30-40 minutes, and our pops was like, "Hey, we have to go. Hold on." We decided to play like the first hour of the game, and we begged our pops like, "We can't leave without grabbing a copy of this game."
I I just picture Greg just staring up.
No, I was doing that already. My sister was doing the same exact thing. She was the one
Yeah.
who was playing, Eric, and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like it was nuts and crazy how it just went there. Like Joey, like you can just imagine a 13 or 12-year-old kid just to be like, this is turn-based awesome. And we grew up with
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy, of course, on the
Right.
original PlayStation, and seeing this type of thing, this type of gameplay and stuff, it was great. Like I give huge shout outs to, of course, who else but Casey Hudson, the game director of KOTOR, and of course the Mass Effect and Dragon Age series.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job, him and his team, and like, oh man, just take me back to the grade school days.
You know, the whole funny thing with that story is kids these days will never understand
Nope.
the amount of sore necks
Yes.
we had from
Yes.
standing at those damn kiosks going like,
Yes,
no,
like,
Dad, I need 5 more minutes. I want to finish this demo real quick.
like it wasn't even a demo. That was
Yeah.
it was the full game, and we
Yeah.
were like, we have to get this game. And Pops was like, next week, we got it, and the rest was history. Like weekend nights were just like, make sure homework is done, then go for it, and then the rest, there we go. And I just imagine, and both me and my sisters grew up on this game, and for us to have that legacy and stuff, I think they know about the remake, and they were super happy and excited about it. But since I'm hearing this new information from you guys about how it's going to be a reimagined play, we'll definitely see how it goes. So here's hoping. Here's hoping, guys. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest hope. Like, I think the new style is going to fit today's gamers a lot better. I don't see
Yeah.
today's gamers sitting through the turn-based style of that original game. Like, and we were talking about it before the show. It rated so well when it originally came out. They re-rated it, and it was like a 70 something at this point,
Mhm.
mainly because of those mechanics. So you change it
Mm.
up, you make it more fluid. I think it's going to do really well. But the other thing is, guys, it is a remake, not a remaster. And I mentioned this earlier. Don't be surprised if they change some of the story. So if you were
Yeah.
looking to play that original game, I would play the original game, even though the mechanics are bad, like John said. There could be some changes to the story because, and I could be wrong on this, but I've heard whispers that Disney is trying to make some of the Old Republic stuff canon. And I think if you're going to start making that transition, this remake would be the game to start doing that.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest concern a lot of Old Republic fans and Knights of the Old Republic fans are going to have with the idea of kind of redoing or re-upping the lore or the story from this game is this game also was one of the very first games that the main character in Revan wasn't a man and wasn't a woman. It was whatever your character was. So the idea of not assigning this character a gender back in 2003 was, was really considered progressive for its time. And that was one of the things that Old Republic fans had an issue with when the MMORPG came out, was because when the Revan expansion came out, Revan was specifically a male character and kind of poo-pooed that whole idea that Revan wasn't a guy and wasn't a girl. It was whoever the player was. So, that's probably one of the things that a lot of people might be caught up on. And, for me personally, it's not going to affect me too much. I still love the idea and character of Revan. But I can understand how, maybe some of our female gamers out there that, were able to identify with Raven, with Revan back in that game, would have an issue now with Revan being portrayed as solely a male character.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping that we get a lot of the characters that we had in the original game as well. I think that Bastila is hands down one of the best characters in that game, and she's kind of the anchor for Revan when it comes to his reveal. Like she's the one that reveals it to him.
Her voice actress from the original game confirmed she'll be back for that.
Jennifer Hale.
Jennifer Hale.
Yeah.
Femshep. Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
And I just think that this game, this story, if you've never experienced it, and Garrick, I know you're here in chat and you're saying I've never played KOTOR and I'm pretty hyped to finally play it. Play the original game. like just try to play the original game because the story is worth the playing. We talk about the mechanics, but keep in mind these are 20-year-old mechanics. And at the time we were like, "Oh, okay, this is fine." But now looking back on it, the mechanics weren't that good. Absolutely. I would also give Knights of the Old Republic 2 a chance because you're introduced to Darth Nihilus, you're introduced to more of the lore of the Sith that was going on at that time. I believe you can travel to Morabon or Korriban in both games, John.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then one of the missions has you in the Sith Academy actually, and you learn about the secrets of the Sith. And it's really interesting. Another planet you get to go to Mon Cala and deal with the Mon Calamari, which is really interesting. Talos is like Coruscant without being Coruscant. And so you get to experience all of these amazing planets. You even get to go to Tatooine and kill a bunch of Tusken Raiders. um, the women and the children are not involved, so you can't like live your Anakin Skywalker fantasy. Like, but you get to see all of that. You get to go to remote Jedi temples. There's all sorts of stuff here. The Ebon Hawk is pretty much the Old Republic Millennium Falcon, but even that ship takes on a character in and of itself. You have a bounty hunter droid, HK-47, who may or may not be misunderstood.
Very
Uh,
misunderstood.
he's very misunderstood. You have an astromech droid that was the precursor to the R2 units. There's all of these characters, so definitely check it out. I know that we're excited to play these games because, or definitely excited to play this remake because this was our childhood. As Greg said, like we spent hours at those kiosks. If you didn't have an Xbox, yeah, exactly. Greg did the demo right there. Um, and like John said, you will not know the amount of sore necks that we had with playing on these kiosks, but it was amazing at the time. And like Greg was saying, like John was saying, Xbox didn't really have a major franchise outside of Halo at that point.
Mhm.
We didn't have Gears of War. We didn't have I mean Crimson Skies was going to be a franchise, but that was kind of a one and done thing. We had some sports games. We had the Obi-Wan game also, which was really amazing. We had the Jedi Knight games, but like we didn't have a major franchise for the Xbox outside of Halo. And for this to come along when it did, it helped save the Xbox. Let's just say that. Halo and Knights of the Old Republic helped save the Xbox. But we're not talking Halo. That's for our Halo cast. And I see John down there, like just. I guess Joey and I will be the Xbox shills for the show.
He's looking for my reaction. He's
Yeah,
looking up
Am.
over at my box.
yeah,
I
I
see
know.
him. Oh.
I see. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong though, Joey. Like those
No,
games
I think
saved
you're
the
right. I wouldn't
Xbox.
say saved it at that point because it was
Yeah,
just so brand new, but I think launched it to become what the 360 eventually was probably
yeah,
a big factor.
yeah. And for us not to get a follow up on the Xbox 360, I think was a crime. I
Yeah.
think that they could have continued on with that story. So
When did Knights of the Old Republic 2 come out? Do you remember?
I believe that was 2005, so it was right around Revenge of the Sith, I think.
2004.
2004. Yeah.
2004,
Yeah,
okay. So it was a year
2004.
later then. So yeah, it was right before Revenge of the Sith. So we
Mhm.
got like two major Star Wars stories before we got there. And then this game was so popular that it spawned an MMO. And this MMO has, let's face it, has competed with World of Warcraft. And it's one of the few. All right, John, go ahead. I'm going to stop my
Compete is,
thought.
is is a very
go.
strong term. It has existed with World of
Yeah.
Warcraft
Okay.
is probably the better
I was trying to
phrase.
give it the benefit of the doubt.
No, I appreciate. I mean, I still play, the Old Republic to this day, but yeah, it still has issues.
Existed is a good way of putting it.
It
Yes.
exists.
Existed alongside.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how successful these first two games were, though. And for BioWare and EA to get together and to continue to do this is huge. And for this game to be, it's 10 years old now.
Oh yeah.
For it to be 10 years old and still going with the expansions that it's had, with the stories that it's been telling. I mean, it even spawned 4 books that went along with it. One of them was about Revan. So if you want to read about Revan and you want to go back to Legends, read Drew Karpyshyn's Revan novel. I think I
Yep.
said his name right, and it's a great novel. We're introduced to a new Dark Lord, Darth Malgus, which is really crazy and interesting, and you get to see the Sith assault a Jedi temple, which is insane. There's tons of stuff. I mean, John was really excited for that, and you can pick
Just
Republic.
cleaning house, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you can pick Republic or Sith, light or dark. It still gives you those choices. Now, John, are you still like affecting some stuff in the game with choices that you're making,
Oh
or
yeah.
yeah, it's still pretty much BioWare formula?
Yeah, so I mean the cool thing is that, you know, for a game that Disney now considers non-canon, um they sure do love allowing this game to continue on,
Yeah,
because of the money it brings in. It is like World of Warcraft, where it is subscription based, but yeah, it's a lot like World of Warcraft, where your decisions kind of do shape your character's story.
yeah,
I feel like it's a lot more open to those changes in the story versus what World of Warcraft has. World of Warcraft is very linear. You can make your own choices, but eventually you get to the same endpoint. World of Warcraft, I mean, no, I'm sorry, Old Republic. There's a point in the game where there is an alliance between the Jedi and the Sith. Um, and then you have a choice when Onslaught comes on to either go to the Republic or stay with the Empire. And it's the Sith Empire at this point in time.
yeah,
And if you're a Sith sympathizer that started out on the dark side, you can make that call and go to the Republic.
Yeah.
You definitely can do that. The game doesn't force you to go back to the Empire. Now, do you feel a little out of place when you do it? Yeah, probably. But you still have that option, and then you play the Republic side of that story arc versus the Empire side. That's something World of Warcraft would never let you do. There's no way an orc would ever be on the Alliance, and there's no way that a human on the Alliance would ever defect to the Horde. It just wouldn't happen.
yeah. Joey, it looks like you have some thoughts here, bud.
Oh yeah, I was just answering a quick message. But yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. And just one other thing to say on Knights of the Old Republic that I just made a note of as well.
Sure.
I don't know if this is publicly announced, but they are porting the original 2 over to the Nintendo Switch at some point. It was supposed to be
Really?
released and announced this year. But I don't know. I don't think it has yet. I think there's still going to be a Nintendo Direct 1 or 2 this year, maybe this month even. Maybe they announce it there. Maybe it got pushed to 2022. But those are not remakes; they're direct ports over. But it should be coming to the Switch here in the very near future.
And you'll also be able to play it on your Samsung smart fridge.
Sure.
No, just kidding.
xCloud, why not?
I mean,
Xcloud,
to be
yeah.
completely honest, I think the Switch is a perfect console for the old Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
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 I really, any kind of mobile device, I feel like plays that style game a lot better than what a PC or console would.
Yes.
And I think they were released on phones this year too. Speaking
It
of
was.
mobile devices,
Yeah,
It was.
It
Yeah.
was. I believe it's. Let me see here. I think it's like $7 on the App
Yeah,
Store.
I think it's on like iPads, iPhones, Android.
Let me see
Yeah.
here.
I noticed that when I saw the release dates too, with the
Yeah.
update release dates. Yeah.
It's so the original is $10, and the second one is $7.
Hmm.
I would just wait for the Nintendo Switch port, to be honest.
Same. I mean, like, I'll
If you
still
have a
download
Switch.
it.
Yeah, that or
If you
PC
have
would
a
probably
Switch.
be
Mhm.
Yeah.
the best.
Mhm.
So let's let's move on. I think we've covered the topic of Knights of the Old Republic pretty well, and we've hyped it up here. Let's move on here. And Greg, I know that you wanted to talk about this little ditty here, which is Shadows of the Empire, which was in '96 for the Nintendo 64. Uh, Greg, you and I played this. I believe a few others. Joey, did you play this one too?
I don't remember this one, so I don't
Okay.
think I did.
I know some people in chat probably did. This was another one of those big Star Wars stories that we had. And we were introduced to Han Solo Light, I guess you could say, with Dash Rendar.
Yep.
We were introduced to Bounty Hunter Leia when she was using that get up, and Bounty Hunter Chewbacca. We were introduced to Prince Shizor and Black Sun, which would then become Crimson Dawn in new canon. So, Greg, go ahead and talk about uh, Shadows of the Empire.
I did mention my uncle who passed away 3 years back. He was the one who got me next to my father who got me into Star Wars. He was actually the one after finishing first grade who got me my N64, and I was given a copy of Shadows of the Empire to start off. Now, as a 7-year-old or 6-year-old kid during that time, I didn't know what the analog stick was because I grew up with the D-pad, especially with Super Nintendo and NES. So in the first mission, I remember this. You remember this too, Eric.
Yeah.
Um, hopefully, John, we will get your memory back with this one because the first level has you playing in, or Jonathan, we got you. You will
Joey
remember
too.
Joey. We'll get you back in memory. The first mission has you in a snow speeder, like pretty much
Yeah.
like you have to take down like the Battle of Hoth,
Yeah.
and
It's awesome.
then it was like crazy because again the D-pad changes your camera angles, and I'm like, how come I'm not moving my ship? And then that's when I started getting into learning the basis of what the analog controller could do, especially moving in a 360, environment and stuff like
And
that.
roping
And
those AT-ATs
that was fun.
was
That
it
was
was fun,
fun.
but it was
Oh,
tough. It was
Yeah,
really tough.
I got used to it because like after and I know we're gonna get to Rogue Squadron later, but
Yeah.
using doing those AT-AT special challenge markers, that helped me get ready for Rogue Squadron. But again, it was like one of those games like I know like for in today's time, especially like we now have Uncharted, we now have Gears of War. This is sort of like I think the very first third person game that was Star Wars related, even before what was that title? That was The Force Unleashed. Yes,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, Shadows of the Empire was the very first one to
Yeah.
like actually have Star Wars being put in that third person because you could play in first person, having the camera angle see like just your reticule of where your blaster is gonna fire and stuff like that, or a
One
cinematic angle, or you could play in third person. I
Wha-
remember that.
One of the Jedi Knight games also had third person too. But yeah, this
Yo,
was like
Jedi Academy. I think you're talking
yeah,
about Jedi
yeah,
Academy. Yeah, but that came out later.
yeah, that
Before,
was
yeah, I think that
yeah,
was
yeah.
Xbox.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
came
Okay,
was
out
I have
later.
played this, boys. This definitely looks familiar now that I'm looking at
Yeah.
footage of it.
yeah.
The first boss was a ATST, which is part of my top 10 boss fights of all in video game history, which was crazy because
Yeah.
I didn't understand because the trick how we have to beat him. And sorry for a flashback story because I'm just thinking about it. I had to give the controller to my father that time because I didn't know how to kick this thing's ass. It was hard because he said you got to get on top of the boxes quickly, get on the platform, and button mash the A button for the blaster, and that's how you
Yeah.
beat it. When all of a sudden you just gotta go behind it, hold down the Z button to aim up, and I'm like, that's how you do it?
Yeah.
Seriously? But again, it was a nice way to introduce different storylines, especially there was something happening between the episodes of 5 and 6
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So especially will help you get ready and such and
Yeah.
introduce us to new characters, as you said. So yeah, and hopefully that got your memory back. I hope so. Like I play footage of it because man, fighting Boba Fett for the first time, who would have thought
That's
of that?
right.
The
Who
whole
would have thought of that?
AT-AT lassoing thing definitely brought it
Yeah.
back. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I remember spending hours trying to get some of those to work
Your
right.
tow line broke.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then like you would hear like Wedge or Luke like kind of yell at you like if you
yes.
weren't doing it.
Or if you were
Right.
shooting down your own soldiers, which I've done just to kill some
Oh
time.
yeah.
And like he would be
Well,
like, "You shot one of our own."
the worst part about it were the probe droids that you also had to take
Oh
down
yeah.
Yes.
because
They
there
were
were
tiny.
so many probe droids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so now we all remember Shadows of the Empire, or at least that first
That game
level
was
of
like
Shadows
what,
of the Empire. It
96?
was
I mean,
Yeah.
96, yeah.
Mhm. It
Um,
like again the boss fights were memorable like in those because again who would have thought you would fight Boba Fett or IG-88. So
Mm.
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. And then
Mhm.
I remember that year specifically because the game came out, the book came out, and then the toy line came out. And they had the Shadows of the Empire Kenner 3 3/4 inch action figures.
Yes.
And I think Luke was Luke was special. Like all three like main characters in the story, Luke, Leia, and Chewie all had different disguises. And so like Chewie
Mm.
and Leia were the bounty hunters. And then it also came with the Prince Shizor and then the Dash Rendar. And I think there were a few other characters. I think they did a Boba Fett for it also. But I remember seeing that in the toy store. And then Baltimore Comic Con like 4 years ago, I saw the entire set for like $50 mint on card. And I should have picked him up. I should have picked him up. And I'm
Oh,
like, "Mm,
come
mm."
on.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. They
I
say, Eric.
know, I know. But
Oh,
but those are the memories that I have with that game. And then I believe it was a year later we got the Rogue Squadron game, which was a lot of fun. And that was when the Rogue Squadron comic hit because that's when Dark Horse had comic book rights to Star Wars. And I think I remember there was one mission that was on a planet that had this like major city and you take out this building and I remember Han Solo saying, that's okay, I never liked that building
I
anyway."
remember that mission. Yeah. Yes.
And
Yeah.
and I said that's a Han Solo thing to say. I don't remember much of Rogue Squadron besides that, except I got to fly an X-wing and I was really happy about that because who doesn't want to fly an X-wing except for John, who'd rather fly TIE fighters and TIE defenders and
Here we go.
interceptors and TIE
they just look
silencers.
cooler.
Yeah.
They look like they're actually taken care of instead of being pieced together by duct tape. That's all I'm saying.
And
Okay,
Legos.
one had a lot more money behind them, sir.
Because they were the legitimate government,
We
and
talked
the
about this with
rebels
the Bad
were
Batch,
literally
Joey.
rebels.
I'm just saying.
We talked about the
There's
legitimacy
definitely
of
an
the Empire.
economic difference going on there.
I got a question for John, if you don't mind. If
Oh,
you don't
No, go
mind.
ahead.
No,
Go ahead. This
please,
is an
please.
open
Because
discussion.
we are talking about games. We did, and he just mentioned Rogue Squadron. And you know what? To be fair, I did look at just now earlier the list of the top video games, and yes, KOTOR was one of them. Like the games you
Yes.
should play before you die. And I'm like, yeah, one of the titles that definitely got to me. And this was before, and I was like 5 or 6, even before the N64 when I got this. Before I got the 60, before I got the Nintendo 64. Sorry, my words are jumbled up right now. Have you ever played Star Wars TIE Fighter? By
Oh
the
yeah,
way,
I played it on PC.
like,
So
oh
I
man,
want to say that was one of the games that was ported to a standalone like arcade game.
It was. The original
Yeah.
one was, yes.
Yeah. I played it in an arcade. I never owned it though.
oh yeah, because apparently you should be happy because that game is in the top games you should play before you
I
die.
mean,
I was like,
don't get me wrong,
no,
it's a badass
X-Wing.
game.
I like
Yeah,
that
it
X-Wing
is.
was
It
yeah,
is.
but because it has that flight simulator like Wing
Mhm.
Commander, of
Mhm.
course, and like
Yeah.
and because see, this gives me a lot of thinking and stuff like that because that's why I like Rogue Squadron a lot too because you got to change your camera angle to see what the cockpit looks like and stuff and
Yeah.
look left and right and such. And I know you didn't like squadrons and stuff, but it was still pretty damn cool to see what a TIE fighter looks like in the inside and stuff like that. And I'm like, huh.
Well,
Usually yeah, like go ahead.
no,
Like,
I was gonna say Squadrons took like the shield thing, the shield power, engine power, and weapon power functions
Yeah,
from X-wing versus TIE fighter.
yeah. I had to get used to that
Yeah,
because I know that was tough and stuff like that. But to be fair, like again, just looking at it in that perspective, I know it's a first person um ship to ship battle game and stuff like that, and it
yeah,
was difficult because again, some of us did play Rogue Squadron via third person mode where we see the entire ship and where we're going.
Yeah.
Even Battlefront with the galactic space battles,
yeah.
it was just really cool just to see what it would look like to viewers like who were actually sitting inside an actual TIE fighter or an X-wing and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I was like, he's gonna be happy that TIE fighter is part of the top games you should play before you die. Yeah, yeah, I'll give him that.
So before we move to Battlefront, there are two games that I want to mention real quick. One of them is Dark Forces, which was a first-person shooter that was on the PC, and that one introduced us to the character of Kyle Katarn, who then becomes the main character in the Jedi Knight games. That was, I got to tell you, that was one of the most difficult games I have ever played, but it was amazing and it was so much fun. You were pretty much a one-man wrecking crew just wrecking the Imperials left and right. And yeah, I'm sorry, John, more stormtroopers and officers die in those two games or
Could
in
have
a
kept
bunch
the
of those
clones.
games. Yeah. I mean, well, they did for a while, as we saw with the Bad Batch. Um, but that was a fun one. And then I learned how to play chess playing the Star Wars chess game.
Okay.
I see
Wow.
John's reaction.
Yo.
I mean, hey, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And that one was a lot of fun. So if you ever get the chance, look up the Star Wars chess game because it's ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun. So like one side, so the white side was all rebels, and then the black side was all Imperials, and like the pawns, I think for the rebellion side were R2D2, and then the pawns or the rooks, I should say, no pawns, were R2, and then stormtroopers for the Imperial side. So
Huh.
check that out. Let's move on to Star Wars Battlefront.
Just one
This,
quick fun
yeah,
fact here, Eric. So with Dark Forces, I've never played this game, but I'm
yeah,
looking at
sure,
a little bit of it now.
yeah,
It was run on the Jedi engine. The actual
yes,
source engine of the game was Jedi. It's
yes,
fascinating.
it
Yeah.
was.
That one and Shadows of the Empire
Yep.
were on the Jedi engine. And fun
Two
fact,
Sith-based titles.
and well, it's funny you bring that up too because they actually had a Sith engine as well
Yep.
Oh,
that was used for Jedi Knight.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Which I
So
think is
funny.
really funny that they
That is
had that.
crazy.
they crossed them. They had to
Yeah.
balance the force.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And I mean, who can forget those old LucasArts intros as well? When you had the George Lucas figure like kind of running around and stuff like that. Uh, for those of you that know, you know. So I want to talk about Star Wars Battlefront here. This has been a franchise that has been around since the early 2000s, got revitalized back in 2015 with the start of the sequel trilogy, and then had a very successful sequel with Star Wars Battlefront 2 back in 2017. Battlefront has had quite a few games that were on the Xbox and PlayStation 2, and I believe that was about it up until we got the re-releases here with Battlefront 2015 and Battlefront 2 2017. These games pitted faction against faction. Oh wait, the PSP had a Battlefront game, and so did the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo DS had one too.
Yeah, there were 7 in total.
Yeah, that counts the two that were the most recent two.
Yeah, so Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2 in 2004 and 2005.
Okay.
Then you had Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron, which was
Yep.
PlayStation Portable.
Yeah.
And then you had another PSP and Nintendo DS one, which was Elite Squadron.
Mhm.
Those were 2007 and 2009. Also in 2009, you had Star Wars Battlefront Mobile Squadrons for phones.
Okay.
And then you have the most recent two in 2015 and 17.
Yeah. How many of these titles did you guys play?
Okay.
4.
You played 4 of them?
Yeah, 4 also as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Wait.
Yeah, it's right around 3 or 4.
yeah, round 3 or 4 also for me. Yeah. I
I think
played
5. Sorry. Continue. Sorry. 5 for me.
Actually
Because
no,
yeah,
Greg, I might be with you on that one because I played the first
5.
two and then I played Renegade Squadron.
The PSP one.
Yeah,
I played Elite Squadron, the one after Renegade.
and then
Yeah.
I played the most recent two.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 5.
Um but Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, I want to
Yes.
say, that came out right around Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that actually told the story post the Clone Wars and how it actually went into how the Republic evolved into the Empire. And when you're doing the main campaign, it's actually a clone that is narrating what is going on. So you
Mm.
get to hear Tamora Morrison again
Yeah.
as one of the clones. And there's multiple missions where you have to take out like an old capital ship. This was the one that actually introduced space battles because the original Battlefront was just specifically on planets, so you didn't really like have any ship to ship combat. Battlefront 2 introduced ship to ship combat as well as uh, cruiser assault mode or something like that, where you could actually like invade the enemy's cruiser and take out their core, like we get with the supremacy games now in Battlefront 2, the new Battlefront 2, I should say.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on this franchise as we move forward into potentially getting Battlefront 3?
Okay, hot take, and I don't know if you guys agree. I think the original two were better than the most recent two.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
think the most recent two have really missed the mark considerably for me.
I can see that.
Pandemic Studios, the
That's
people
right, it
who
was
and
Pandemic Studios.
Free
Yep.
Radical Studios, those were the people who made the first two Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 games.
Yep.
And I mean, if I think about it, it just I mean, Joey's right. It's legit. We were excited when they were going to revive the series, I'll admit, but when we tried it, I can't speak on the rest of us. It just didn't have that excitement that we liked from the first two original games. I mean, like, as much as I think it was a great way to, like, hey, new graphics, hey, awesome, we could play this hero and that hero and stuff. Just doesn't feel the same, even though it's a third person, or you could play first person, whatever you prefer, and it has that Battlefield Bad Company feels. If you guys
Mhm.
remember those games and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, like, no disrespect, EA, cool you tried, but it feels like, I know it says Battlefront, but it feels too much of a Battlefield game to me. Like, it didn't have that flair that Pandemic Studios had back for the first two.
Yeah, I
Well,
feel like we're in the same spot, Greg. Like, I feel like it was good, just not great. It wasn't
yeah.
like that great successor that I was hoping it would be so far.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something we've seen EA do on almost every single thing they've ever done. Is sometimes they forget the idea of keep it simple.
Yeah.
I believe it was the saying is keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And sometimes they
True.
think more is better, and there's sometimes that more is definitely not better.
No.
And you know, and I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be positive, but that was my problem with the most recent 3 movies for Star Wars, was that they tried to do so much in 3 movies that the plot, and plus the fact they had multiple directors and writers, we're not going to go there. But it just felt like they tried to do so much and wrap up so many stories in so little time that it just didn't have that same effect that the original trilogy, the prequel and the the prequel trilogy had. And that's, I think, is a fair example to what we saw with EA and Battlefront. Was they just tried to do too much with too little.
Now, I'm going to disagree a little bit just to hop on there. Sorry if I'm cutting you off, Eric.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I feel like the big thing with Battlefront for me is I'm fine if they put a ton of stuff into it, but make it a platform in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with Destiny 1 or Destiny the original and Destiny 2. and John has mentioned this on Level Up before. The whole plan originally was to keep it just Destiny and to carry on for that Destiny name forever, pretty much. But then there was Destiny 2, and it kind of cut things up a little bit. That's my issue with Battlefront as well. Like, just give us Battlefront and give us new characters, give us new planets, give us new experiences, but keep it all under one umbrella.
I remember the original Xbox version had DLC where we get Jedi Master Kit Fisto, the one who can swim underwater and stuff like that, and such, and some maps, which was pretty cool because I played on both PlayStation and Xbox. Crossplay wasn't invented that time yet, people, so we had to get on.
EA still doesn't believe in it.
According
Right?
to Sony, it still doesn't exist.
Right. But like I'm going to put a little bit of hurt on to you guys, and I'm sorry, but I remember a couple years back, and they actually released this footage. You can actually find it on YouTube, and I can show you guys the link. Before Pandemic and Free Radical shut down, they had plans for Battlefront 3 for both the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and you can see some awesome gameplay of it. You saw it too, Eric? Oh my!
I remember.
My gosh, and you can play an Ewok and gun in here, and I was like, sweet, awesome. Free Radical and Pandemic shuts down. Oh, and we never got what we wanted, especially since they had that footage of, because that transition of getting inside a starship, instead of having a land planet-side battles, you can take the ship up in space and have like space battles. And I'm like, we could have had this. Yeah. Why did you take this away? And
because you're not allowed to have nice things.
That's right. And we also saw the storyline a little bit too, because the main question I have and stuff like that is, and I'm a huge sucker, and sorry to get off topic, of martial arts and MMA and stuff. We saw a quick cutscene of one of the Jedi Masters during Order 66. If he was unarmed, what can he do in that situation? Yeah. And when I showed that footage to my family, and again, we're a bunch of martial artists, of course, as well, they were really impressed. They're like, what can you do if you're unarmed and stuff? And this is coming at you. And we just saw a person just do amazing fight choreo and stuff, and we could have had it. I just want to say it looked awesome and amazing. And I think I heard Nolan North being one of the clone commanders voices, and I think he was part of it too. But come on, Connects, please take it away.
So when it comes to Battlefront, I will agree. I think that the first two games are better than the two that we've gotten recently. However, I will say this. I love Battlefront 2. The most recent Battlefront game, I think, is great. Now, I will say this. EA shot themselves in the foot a couple of times with these two games. Especially, what? Yeah, I know, right? Huh? Hot take coming at you. But with them not including a single player campaign in the original game, that shot them in the foot, because you could have easily done Iden Versio's campaign from Battlefront 2 in the original Battlefront that they did in 2015. So that shot them in the foot there. Charging as much as they did for the DLC for Battlefront 1 was insane as well. Because you had Outer Rim, Bespin, Scarif, and Death Star. You could have had Scarif, you could have had Rogue One and Death Star as one thing. You could have had Bespin and Outer Rim as another thing. Instead of doing 4 different DLCs, you could have done 2, or you could have just done it for free, and you could have had the support of the players right then and there. With Battlefront 2, microtransactions killed your game for a very long time, until you started listening to your fans. Now, they claim it's complete because we had the battle on Scarif. You still have Exegol and a bunch of other planets from the Rise of Skywalker that you can throw in there. You could even go back and do High Republic stuff in Battlefront, but they're not even doing that. So that's how they failed with this. I will say this, I still enjoy it. I think the Galactic Supremacy is fun. However, those matches can go a very long time. Especially if you don't bring down a capital cruiser. But that's my 2 cents. I think Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, the original, are amazing. I even liked Renegade Squadron. That's all I'm going to say. I think that if you guys want to talk more about Battlefront and Battlefront 2, 2015 and 2017, let's do it. But I guarantee you, I probably am not getting a beta invite to Battlefield 2042.
I mean, I'll just say, like, there's a Battlefront 3 in the works. It's
Yeah.
very far off. A lot of the people that are working on that game got pulled over to Battlefield 2042 to make sure it's available to come out this year.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
that's going to push it back. The other big thing is it's going to be considerably different than what Battlefront 2 offered.
Yeah.
Like, some of those game modes are going to return, some of the ideas of the character concepts are going to return, but overall, Battlefront 2 did not do well. Battlefront 1 did not do well. So they're trying to find a new formula that's going to do well. And I think their biggest issue is they want to make this game live service. They want to add all this stuff to it. But in doing that in today's day and age, you have to make it free to play.
Yeah.
But people don't want to pay for loot boxes. And you can't really go too crazy with cosmetics in Star Wars because then you kind of go away from the lore aspects.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to defend EA, but they're also in a tough spot for what players want out of this game.
Damn
I
it,
have a
Joey.
quick-
No, I'm just kidding.
But you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if
I
they
do.
want to make it live service, they have to find a way to pay themselves. But
Oh,
players
yeah.
don't want to pay for loot
Yeah.
boxes, but they also don't want these crazy cosmetics. So it's like, what do you do if you're EA in that sense?
I have a question and stuff. Like, how long is the contract, by the way, for the Star Wars contract that EA has?
It's
Like,
broken. It doesn't
yeah, it's
exist
done.
anymore.
broken now. It's
Yeah.
done. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought it was expired like last year already. I was like,
I think it's
could've
just a
sworn.
game by game contract now. I think
Okay.
it's just
Yeah, they cut it up.
Yeah.
So they pretty much paid them out for the rest. And there's a few other Star Wars. Like, they've mentioned Ubisoft publicly. Xbox has a couple licenses as well. And
I
there's a
remember
few
that,
others
yeah.
out there. So
Okay, yeah. So-
Go ahead.
So no, that was my only question. So yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Do we have anything else to add about Battlefront franchise or the Battlefront franchise?
I mean, can anyone answer my question? Like, do you guys have an answer? Because I genuinely do not have an answer to that problem.
How do you
Like, how do you make it live
service?
service without continuing to pay yourself through like microtransactions or crazy cosmetics?
I mean, your other option is to do what MMO RPGs do, and that's
Yeah,
a subscription-based
monthly,
yeah.
format,
Could do that.
which
Yeah.
for some people that's a big turnoff, and I completely understand that. But that's where I think Star Wars: The Old Republic has it right,
Yeah.
where if you are paying a subscription, you get the expansions for free. That's something World of Warcraft doesn't even do. You're paying $15 a month, and you're still paying $40 for a half-ass expansion called Battle for Azeroth coming out. And then you're just like, oh, this is going to be great. And then 2 days into playing, you're like, this might be the worst expansion since Draenor. You know, you're just like, oh, this is absolute crap. And it's completely off topic, but it's exactly what I'm trying to get to, though, is you pay $15 a month for a subscription-based game. You get the expansions for free. That's what the Old Republic does and does incredibly well.
Yeah.
It's not draining you for money. Yes, they still have microtransactions for cosmetics, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
If it's microtransactions for abilities to make your character better, then it becomes a pay-to-win game, and that's what I have an issue with.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't mind microtransactions for cosmetics either, if the cosmetics are done right and done in taste with the characters or the factions. However, don't charge me for weapons. Don't charge me for weapons. If you want to charge me for a specific, like, limited release vehicle, go ahead. But it's something that I don't. If it's something that I don't need but I want, okay, yeah, go ahead and charge me for that. But, don't charge me for planets. Don't charge me for, oh, well, now you have this space battle and that's going to be an additional $20. No, I don't want that. Just give it to me for free or make me pay a subscription. Because with Battlefront, you could do like a season pass each year and just do like, okay, $6 a month, and this is what you get. Like, they don't even need to charge like $20 a month. They could do like between $5 to $10 a month for their subscription.
Yeah, I mean, the season pass thing, that's what Destiny does, and it's working
Yeah.
very well for Destiny. So it's a
Exactly.
possibility. And I think John's idea as well, I don't know if a straight up subscription would work, but if you tie it into EA Play, I think that could be a way to get console makers into
Absolutely.
it, kind of along those same lines. What are your thoughts on if let's say they keep a classic game mode where they have like your Yoda, your Empire type of units in there, but what if they allowed you to create your own characters as well in Battlefront?
I would definitely like that feature because you get to express yourself as a player and stuff like that. Put your own, of course. respectable name tag and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
yes, because if you guys played against
Respect.
the if you played if you played in the bot mode, remember you play against these names that were either a troop
Yeah.
name if you're in the Empire or like a made up name if you're in the Rebels. But
You killed Valakor. What?
yeah, pretty exactly. If like I understand what you're saying, Jordan, like because like if you have that character creation thing, not only you get to express yourselves, as long as you're only paying just not that pay to win nonsense, but just for cosmetics and stuff like that, I'm all in. I was gonna say maybe like what Destiny is doing, a free to play 32 versus 32 game and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and just going on and go have at it. It's just you're only
Right.
paying for like again just for like a season pass and stuff like that. If anyone's listening who is a game developer, you better give us us
I
for
don't
credit
think we're
because
gonna get
we're
that, but yeah.
No.
man still
That costs
still
money.
yeah. But as I said,
EA,
like
if you're
yeah,
listening,
EA's like, I'll give you loot boxes for free to get you addicted to gambling as an 8-year-old. How about that?
oh my
You know?
gosh, as long as it doesn't go back to that issue from 2017 again, that was a big bad issue. That's what made
no, it
Battlefront 2
did.
go,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, please make it happen. Again, character creation, a way to free 32 versus 32 battles, either ship to ship or the battlefield itself. That's pretty fun as long as people are just playing it, and just
Yeah.
paying for what they want and what they need. So that's it.
Now, the only thing I would point out is you get that in the Old Republic.
Yeah.
You can create your own character. There's PvP, there's ship battles. Like, that's all there. I think the big turnoff when it comes to the Old Republic is the fact that people think, oh, it's an MMORPG. I watched that one South Park episode with World of Warcraft. I know what kind of people play those games. I don't want to get involved. And look, I've played a lot of MMORPGs. The Star Wars one might be the least toxic out of all of them. Now, that being said,
Seriously, wow.
yes, there is still some toxic players. You're
Yeah,
always
yeah,
going to
yeah,
get
yeah.
that online. But for the most part,
Yeah.
like the guild interactions I've had, playing PvP, it's been all very straightforward. There's a little trash talking here and there, but like there's no like World of Warcraft toxicity. There's not,
Yeah.
Guild Wars toxicity or anything else
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
And you still get that customization where you can create a character that you can identify with, that you want to kind of channel your own Star Wars fantasy through. And I think it pays off quite well. And for $15 a month, for a subscription, you might be sitting here thinking, that's a lot of money. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you're paying what, $12.99 for Netflix, you're paying $8.99 for ESPN Plus, you're paying $10 a month for Disney. Like I get it, but at the same time, it's like it's a live service game that has even a new expansion pack coming out next year. So there is that to look forward to as well.
This
I'm
sounds like a
kinda-
great spot for a
yeah.
Game Pass ad, by the way. Speaking of,
Ah, man.
Do you like Star Wars?
Go ahead,
also-
Xbox Shell.
when John mentioned the trash talk, I was like, wait a minute. So are we really calling each other nerf herder and stuff like that?
Oh
Or
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what? If someone actually called me a nerf herder in that game, I would applaud them. Because like there is something about like, look, I've never done it, but I have a real big respect for people who role play in these games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That really take
Yeah.
MMORPGs to the next level, and they really do embody that character.
That's awesome.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
For me, when I'm playing those games, I'm way too focused on the lore and the combat for me to be like, channeling my inner blood elf on or void elf in World of Warcraft or my Sith on the Old Republic. Like I'm just like, yeah, like I'll make choices that electrocute people because I'm a Sith and I don't believe in what the Republic stands for. But that's neither here nor there. Like that's playing the game. But I'm not going to be like,
Wheels are going to get in the way of this game. Anyway.
do what?
Nothing.
What?
I'll tell you later. No, I totally get it. The people that role play, absolutely. Go for it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Hey, HoloNet
you're good.
Marauders, how's it going? So I think we've covered Battlefront.
Mhm.
I think we've more than covered Battlefront. There's a oh no, you're fine, HoloNet Marauders. There's a mobile game that Joey and John enjoy playing, and I give Joey crap all the time about playing it. And I want
The-
you guys to talk about this for a little bit, and that's Galaxy of Heroes and the success that, let's face it, EA has actually had a lot of success with this game. It's one of their few Star Wars games that they've had success with.
Mhm.
Um, Joey, you are a big advocate for this game. Go ahead, lay it on us. Like, why do you love this game so much?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring it up, Eric. To be honest, I think this might be the most successful Star Wars game in almost every single category except ratings.
Yeah,
Like ratings is going to go to Knights of the Old Republic, but as far as money spent, time played, user base, I mean, the game is ginormous. But I really like the tie-in. It's kind of what I wish Battlefront would be in the sense that it includes all these characters
yeah,
and it's live service, like it's constantly going. We just had the Bad Batch. So what does that give us? It gives us Bad Batch characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. You have Old Republic stuff. I'm hoping one day we get High Republic stuff.
yeah,
But it does a really good job all encompassing everything. Now there are dark sides in a sense to it as well. There are microtransactions, which I highly recommend staying away from because they're outside of the opening packs when you first start up the game for like the first 7 days. Everything else is so poorly out of proportion value wise. So I would not recommend spending money in it. Similar to the EA loot box stuff we talked about earlier, it doesn't always pay for itself. The other thing I think they do really well is there's lots of content. I mean,
yeah,
there is everything from squad battles to like pairing up. If you want to pair up Sith and Jedi, go for it. You're not going to get crazy bonuses, but it's something you can do. You can kind of make your dream team of the galaxy in a sense. So I like all the freedom in it. I like all the ability to really do anything with all different characters and ships that you kind of want to. But I also like the fact that it's been live service. It's something I've played for years now, and just continuing forward, I know it's going to still get content moving on.
yeah. Go ahead, John.
So Joey can attest to this. When it comes to mobile games, I am probably the worst person to talk to because I hate them. I think they're all pay to win. I feel like they're all kind of like gotcha games where it's like, it's like, oh, yeah, you want to do this? Well, you have to play 84 months to do this or pay us $50. And I'm that person that's like, $50 versus like 4.5 years. Yeah, I'll do that.
4.5 years.
Obviously it's an exaggeration, but to be honest, like I've played Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
That caught my attention for 3-4 months, and then I haven't opened it since I caught my favorite Pokemon, and I was like, okay, I'm satisfied now. I don't need to play the game anymore. But with this one, I'm logging in every day.
Yeah.
It's keeping me engaged. They release characters. They released the best version of Anakin Skywalker just a couple days ago called Lord Vader. So literally from the time where he kneels down in front of Palpatine to
yeah.
before he gets fried like a goose on Mustafar.
We don't talk about that.
Oh,
we
jeez.
don't because Obi-Wan cheated, but that's neither here nor there.
High ground.
High ground.
No. That's not how it works.
Salty you are right now. About
Anakin
this.
clearly made it over. Obi-Wan used some. We're not even gonna go. We're not gonna. Anywho,
Stay tuned for our after hours show to hear his real thoughts.
But Lord Vader is out now, and granted, that's going to take 2 years to unlock because of everything they have it locked behind.
Mhm.
It's probably going to be less than 2 years, but it is a hefty journey to unlock him. But the fact that they're still releasing all these different characters, these different versions of these characters, like you have, Anakin's in there several times already. You have 2 different versions of the Mandalorian in there. You have Mando and Mando with Beskar armor. There's so many different things that you can do in that game, and it stays current.
Yeah.
It stayed current with the Bad Batch, and I think that really helped it out also. Omega, your favorite character from the Bad Batch, was put in there, Eric. So, she's pretty awesome. She doesn't whine as much, but she's in there.
Good.
So
Omega.
But yeah, but to be honest, for someone who is very critical when it comes to mobile gaming like myself, for me now, how many months have I been playing this, Joey, since you convinced me to download it?
I don't know. It was earlier this year, I think, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was like winter time.
Yeah, so probably 7 to 9 months at this
Yeah.
point.
So this might be in my history the longest mobile game I've ever played. And it's because it's entertaining, like keeps me engaged. And it's not something that, like, if I don't log in at a specific time, it's going to penalize me for not doing something.
Yeah.
It gives me a full 24-hour time window to do things, which is also really nice. So yeah, I love it. I think it's great. And the fact that they keep it up to date with what's going on in the Star Wars universe as it comes out. Hopefully the High Republic is going to be the next thing they add in there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I mean, that alone, the fact that it's keeping up to date with everything, I think that's the biggest selling point.
Yeah, I think the other thing they do really well is they give you sim tickets very often once you get toward the end game kind of content. So if you want to sim everything and just make your squad and just let them play it out instantly, you can do that very easily. And I think that's really big for someone who's like as busy as John and I with a lot of different podcasts out there. You click on there, you jump in, you click your sim thing, you're done, you're good to go. Then you can kind of move on to whatever you want to. So they do a good job making it convenient in that sense. But yeah, the content it continues to come. They continue to flow out new content. Lord Vader looks phenomenal. 2 years might not be too far off, John. To be honest,
know.
that grind's going to take a hot minute. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in the game for sure.
One of my questions about this game, though, real quick, when you said that the Bad Batch was released, I know that you were giving me updates through your Discord server and on Dana's Discord server about Galaxy of Heroes. Did they release? I'm gonna count Crosshair as this member. Did they release all the members of the batch?
I don't think Crosshair ever came out.
Crosshair was not included. No.
Okay.
And there might be a reason for that.
Because he's coming back some point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes like a season 2 drop for some reason.
But they had like Tech, Wrecker, Echo, Hunter, and now Omega.
I think there's actually 2 versions of I'm blanking on his name. What?
There's 2 Echoes.
Echo, yes, there is. Yeah. Echo, yeah. There's Clone Trooper Echo, and then there's Bad Batch Echo.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this because it's just neat to see people like embrace this game and log in daily for these rewards and everything.
I hate it.
I know that you do. Now Thrawn's in this game as well. Like all the Rebels characters are in this game.
Don't get me started on Thrawn.
John
right
has
now.
A Thrawn story.
Look, all right.
Tell the story. Let's go.
So Thrawn you unlock through a journey.
No. Go ahead.
And journeys are great because, you know, it's like a mini story mode, if you will, right? I'm going to load this up here real quick. So the only way to get character shards for these higher powered characters is to go through their journey and complete their journey. Mm-hmm. Well, there's different requirements along the way. So like, we'll see if this works here. So here's Thrawn. Right, let's see if we can get it focus in here a little bit. There we go. Right.
Oh, not bad.
So,
yeah.
All right. So there's the entire Phoenix squad down there. So for the last one to get the 7th star on Thrawn, you have to have all the characters.
There you go.
At 7 stars and of a power rating of over 13,900. On the power rating. So Freddie Prinze Jr. is currently the last one that I need to level up.
Supalaba.
So Freddie Prinze is the last one, but still, even then, Thrawn can one-shot you, with like snapping his fingers, and it's so frustrating because like you have to time your stuns and everything else, and it's just it's so frustrating. I've been trying to beat Thrawn now for like 3 or 4 months, and I'm really frustrated right now. I'm really frustrated with the guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of the most like simple events. Like it's not as like cinematic as some of the newer ones are, but that last fight is so freaking hard. The Smurf man just goes off time and time again.
Smurf man.
Wow, that's the first time.
Speaking of those cinematics, no, in all honesty, what you guys need to do if you've never played Galaxy of Heroes, go on YouTube and check out how you unlock Lord Vader. They have the Count Dooku fight in there.
Oh, nice.
And the cinematics for that fight is absolutely beautiful because Palpatine's in the chair and he turns around. Then at the very end, you go like full like on Dooku, and it's pretty badass. And it's just like one of those things where you're just like, okay, this is not what it looked like in the movie, but you know what? I'm gonna allow it because it was still pretty awesome. But yeah,
the
it was.
Revan one is really good too. They do a really good job with some of them.
They've done a really good job with it.
Sweet.
Can't believe we're complimenting EA. What are we doing?
But don't spend money, guys. If you join,
not.
do not spend money past the beginner packs at all.
Well, we are
'cause it's
gonna
way overpriced.
we are gonna be complimenting EA in just a little bit here, but before we do that, um, are there any other games that you want to talk about before we get into this main topic? Yes, do it.
All right, the Mandalorian game that leaked.
Yes.
Whether it's true or not, I loved it. I
Yeah.
love the leak. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
This is
You know-
new to me. Hold up.
Hold
up.
I'll link it. Hold on. I
Please
Is it
have
still
it.
available
I
publicly?
need to watch.
It's
Hold on a second.
it's
I'll
it's
put- I'll
what
put-
like it's like 5 or 10 minutes long. It's not that long.
It's not that long, but like the people who say it's fake, like, okay, I get it, but like if this ends up being fake, this is like the most in-depth fake anything I've ever seen. Loading screens, everything else, the music that's involved is just absolutely incredible. I think it looks great. Now, we said on Level Up, there are rumors of a Mando game in progress.
Yeah.
I mean,
there-
I'll
being-
straight up tell you guys, there's a Mandalorian game being
There
made.
you go.
oh yeah.
I just
So
don't
it's
know if
being
this
made.
is footage of it.
Is this it? We don't know, but this
watching
is still
it,
pretty
yeah.
freaking cool. Like this
Yeah.
looks absolutely fantastic. And honestly, if I'm thinking of a Mandalorian game, really any kind of game that's based off of a TV show or movie has that movie or TV show aspect to it. The fact that they're calling these levels like episodes and has like the Mandalorian intro with the intro music makes me believe it's actually real, because we still see that to this day, even with Marvel.
Yeah.
The games that are based on movies have a very Marvel-esque entry and exit to their games
Yeah.
based upon that movie. So to me, I'm looking at this, fingers crossed it's real. It looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah. No, it
Okay.
really does. Greg, when you get the chance, check it out because
I'm actually
Yeah.
watching it now. This looks kind of clean. Like I see the health bars and stuff like that above the stormtroopers and stuff.
yeah.
People say this was from PAX West from a couple weeks back. I'm like, really? No way. So
I don't know
okay.
if they showed it at PAX, because if they had shown that at PAX, we would have known
Mm-mm.
about it.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, we would have known.
yeah. Because I've heard about
This will be at Celebration.
Yeah,
the-
it has to be, or like Celebration Online or something, because this looks kind of clean.
I
Like,
think it's probably still
Very
a ways
clean.
out.
okay,
I mean, they could still announce it at Celebration and not show anything,
Yeah, they could.
because this will
Be a
probably
logo.
It's a
Yeah.
possibility.
this will probably be, if this is real, it's probably a 2023 release at the earliest.
yeah, I know there's a little bit of cleanup left and right, but that's fine. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm shoot, because
Yeah.
just thinking about this game, because again, it's a bit. I mean, besides, of course, the next title we're going to be talking about, I need another game that's like third person related that isn't related to a lightsaber and stuff like that, but a bounty hunter. And I know we were supposed to get a other title that has been mentioned in past E3s ago, and I'm not going to bring it up because me and a former coworker, or still one of my good friends of the Lunchbox Publications, Stefan, to this day, that was one of those games we needed. And
I know
that
what
was
you're
the
talking
first-
about, and I was actually going to ask Joey about this. I was going to mention this to Joey. This looks like an awful lot like 1313.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This looks an awful lot like 1313.
oh gosh.
Yeah, and so many people have been disappointed that that game was ever canceled. Like, I don't know if many people know how far in development that game was. That game was like almost
It
set
had
for
a f-
release when it got
It had a
canceled.
full
Seriously?
E3 demo.
Like,
No
it was
way.
past alpha when
Yeah,
it got
it
canceled.
had a full E3 demo when they
That's
announced it.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was a full demo and I saw it and everyone said, "This is the Uncharted of Star Wars." And I was like,
Yeah,
it
that-
does
that
look
was
like
pretty
the
much
Uncharted
it,
Star Wars.
yeah.
And then it got wiped. And I remember that Kotaku editor in chief, I think Jason Scribner, he wrote that book, Video Games in Development and Going Behind the Scenes. Star Wars 1313 was one of them. And
What's that?
I was like, come on, this would have been an A+ title, like something to all play and stuff, especially since again, no lightsabers are involved, nothing against Jedi or Sith, but hey, there are other heroes out there who have a blaster. So, oh
Now,
my goodness gracious.
now I have heard, besides a Mando game, there is another bounty hunter game in development. I have heard a rumor of that as well.
Okay.
I'm not confirming or denying anything on
Same
that.
here.
Yeah, I've
Joey,
heard bounty hunter games,
I
but I think it could still be the same one. I'm not sure.
yeah,
I think there's another game being developed where I think a bounty hunter may be a playable class as
okay.
well. But yeah, I don't know if there's a standalone game or if that's the same thing as the Mandalorian game.
That could be what Massive's working on for Ubisoft.
That's true. That's true. I was
All
gonna
right.
mention, yeah, I was gonna mention the infamous canceled Darth Maul game we were supposed to get
Yeah.
years ago. So,
Greg pulling all the heartstrings.
I'm
Sadness.
sorry,
Well-
sorry.
Okay, I'll say this right now. I'd play that Darth Maul game, especially
here.
if you give him the story that he's had recently. I'm all in.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
all in. And you know what? I'll get killed by Obi-Wan at the end of that game. I'm okay with
No.
that
Yes.
I'm not.
Yeah, no.
Not okay with it.
because he could be dying. And so you're wondering how I got here, huh?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Like right before the striking blow. Huh. I bet you're wondering what the story is up until this point. Well, it starts back on.
Yeah,
Boom.
exactly. No, I'm kidding. But let's get to our main game here in our main topic, and that is Jedi Fallen Order.
Never heard of it.
No,
You-
this is a tiny little game. I think it was released on the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh God,
about
why that one? Out of all the consoles, why the Dreamcast?
I don't know. I'm just trying to. I don't know.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know. I know. I lost all credibility as host. Anyway, there's a little game out there called Jedi Fallen Order that's, I want to say this is 2 years old now. I believe it was 2019 that this came out.
Mhm.
This is, as Greg said, this is pretty much Star Wars Uncharted. This is a game where you play a former Padawan that survived Order 66 named Cal Kestis, who is thrown into a series of events that he needs to find his way back into the Force. And it's really it's a big game, but at the same time, it has really small stakes. I mean, it has big stakes, but it has really personal stakes for Cal Kestis. In this game, you are trying to find a holocron that has the names of Force-sensitive children, in which you need to rebuild the Jedi Order. And I guess we can talk spoilers here now that we're 2 years after this thing. But
Oh no.
but more and more people are actually discovering this game through word of mouth, especially with it being readily available on multiple platforms now, because it just came to Stadia at the beginning of this year. I haven't mentioned Stadia in forever because
Yeah.
I've pretty much given up on that platform when it comes to cloud gaming. I'd rather play on xCloud, but this game is absolutely amazing. It has such a personal story. It has some of the best action I've ever seen in a Star Wars game. This definitely reminds me of The Force Unleashed, but I think it's a lot better than The Force Unleashed. I think the story here is smoother. This was done by Respawn Entertainment, the same team that did Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends. And this game, I can't say enough about this game. I'm just gonna let you guys run with this because this game is absolutely amazing. And whoever wants to talk about this game, tell me your impressions with playing this. Uh, because this is an emotional story and it does pull at your heartstrings for a bit. Just tell me your reactions to this game. Tell me your favorite moments. You can get as spoilery and as sweaty as you want when it comes to this. So let's go. Yes, sweaty. R.I.P. John Schnepp. But go ahead. Whoever wants to take it away first.
Go ahead, Greg. Jump in. You've
Greg,
already broken
yeah.
our hearts with the Darth Maul
I'm-
and the 1313 talk.
Sure, fine. Okay, no, but this again, this was definitely, you're right. This was definitely something close to the Uncharted series. I mean, we want, I get, it's one of those third person games we needed because Force Unleashed, it's been years since we Force Unleashed 2, and after that, for everything was going towards how should I say, first person, of course. Third person, you can add third person, but it was still a battle game, Battlefront, the Battlefront series. So when Jedi Fallen Order came out, I feel as if Respawn Entertainment just added, how should I say, they put Star Wars, mix it with Dark Souls, and and of course and Uncharted, and made, and of course the story, one hell of a game. And if I think about it, the introduction itself, especially for Cal, because like when you see him for the first time, but he was getting hunted down by the how should I say, what do you call the second,
Inquisitors.
the Inquisitors, or the second sisters,
seventh and ninth sister.
And just that reveal itself, especially when she took down your mentor, Prof, in the beginning, and then you were about to take her down. Lo and behold, it was a double-sided lightsaber, and I was like, oh, she knows. And then it just getting dropped from a 50-foot drop into a train and stuff like that, and beginning your adventure there, and seeing how easy to cut up stormtroopers. Sorry, John.
They have families too.
They have families too. Thank you, Robot Chicken, for showing us that.
But again, it's the cinematography is great, and the storyline, especially since like you want to know what happened, because again, some Jedi did survive Order 66 and stuff, and it also had some scary moments too, like you would never see in the Star Wars franchise, except for the infamous cave in Dagobah, obviously, but nothing into a video game itself. So that was pretty smart on Respawn and such. So mad props to them. Am I still playing it? Heck yeah, on the PlayStation 5 with the upgrade. Can't wait. So yeah.
Who wants to go next?
John, anything you want to say? I know you booted it up recently after that upgrade as well.
So I feel like the Star Wars community had like a mixed reaction on this one. When it was announced, I should say, because it's another lightsaber Force user Star Wars game. It's more of the same that we got before, but the way they did it, the story behind it, the emotional connection that players were able to connect with Cal on, I think that's what really made it different. And it didn't feel like a clunky lightsaber game. It didn't feel like a hack and slash. It felt smooth. It felt like you were actually in the battle. Everything about the game looked absolutely fantastic. The one thing that I really enjoyed with it, and I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough, is Cal and how he has his own personal struggle with Order 66.
Yes.
And how that affects him, from the very get-go. Like you mentioned, him being on the train in the very beginning. There's several flashbacks where all of a sudden you're in the hull of an Imperial cruiser. Like it didn't make any sense. Like you keep walking down, you have to turn back around, and like there's this really long hallway, and you're just sitting there going like, okay, what is this whole thing about? And the next thing you know, he's like waking up on a train. So he's still dealing with what happened with Order 66. And I love the fact that they threw that in the game as well. When you learn new abilities, it's Cal as a Padawan learning how to be a Jedi, how to use these techniques. And then finally you get to the Order 66 level where you literally play that moment. Order 66 happens. And that's one of the things I loved about the Bad Batch, and one of the things I loved the most about Fallen Order is I feel like that moment, Order 66, could be expanded on so much. Like I thought Episode 3 did a great job with it. I think the animated series for Clone Wars did a fantastic job in Season 7. But it's one of those things where it's like, even in the Bad Batch in the game, there's so much more to unpack, that there's so many more stories about that moment and what happens right after, that these games can really dive into. And that's what we saw with Cal's story, was him trying to come to copes with watching his Jedi master die in front of him by the hands of these clones that he thought were friends. Kind of like how we saw Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character freak out in the Bad Batch. I think that's one of the aspects of this game that gets overlooked a little bit.
Yeah. Joey,
Yeah,
go.
I would agree with a lot of that and a lot with what Greg said as well. I think the other thing that a lot of people maybe take for granted is the fact we're actually boots on the ground on some of these planets we've seen throughout the universe before,
Yeah.
like Kashyyyk and Dathomir. And we've seen them in TV series, we've seen them in movies, we've read about them in books. But there's so few games where you can actually touch down and experience them. And like going over these pipes and these imperial refineries and into these jungles. And like the wildlife is fantastic. The flora and fauna in these games is so strong, like just the ability to do all that. You have the visions and the secrets and the different collectibles. I also think BD1 is one of the best bots out there in Star Wars.
Yes.
Phenomenal humor, just a really, really cool, just character to be alongside throughout the full journey, as well as kind of being that navigational map like we see with R2 and other instances as well. So for me, that was the biggest thing. Like the story is phenomenal. What John was saying is great. I think it just brings another depth to the story, but the ability to really experience for yourselves as well.
Yeah, I think that you're hitting all the nails on the head here. Especially BD1, I would die for that droid because that droid is just that amazing. Um, this is a game that tells as John said, especially with dealing with Cal and Order 66, that is the driving force in this game. And you do see him struggle with it. And it's only at the end where he really comes to terms with what happened and who he really is that. And I got to tell you, the twist ending is actually really interesting. And I'll spoil it here even if you haven't played it. Come on, this is 2 years now. Um for him to destroy the holocron after going through all of that trouble to get the holocron, for him to destroy it in order to protect the force sensitive children was really interesting because now I'm thinking, how do you build this Jedi Order now? Because he's still on a mission to build this order, but he doesn't have that vital resource. And I'm wondering, because we know Fallen Order 2 is in the works. We were told that by Respawn and EA. And Joey, you've all but confirmed it pretty much when we've talked. Does he meet with Ahsoka? Does he meet with Luke Skywalker? Is that how they build a new order? Or is he going to do this on his own? I mean, are we going to have multiple sections of the Jedi Order now, or multiple sects of the Jedi Order come Fallen Order 2?
I think meeting with Ahsoka might be a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
With Luke, assuming Cal's probably like what 17, 18, 19, 20 years of age, he'd be
Yeah.
in his early to mid 50s when Luke is like or because episode 4 was 33 years after episode 3, right?
No. Episode 4 is like 20 years, I think. Let me see here. I think it's like 19 years.
Live Googling.
Yeah. Sorry. It's 19 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 19 years. Okay. So that one, I mean, maybe I still think it would be a little bit of a stretch, but I think meeting up with Ahsoka would be a real possibility.
Yeah. I think that would be interesting because that would be another way for them to, I'm just going to say this real quick, for them to bring Ezra back. But I think that we're going to see that when it comes to the Ahsoka TV show. But that's for a different discussion. Um, I don't know. I think he would have to contact somebody because I'm pretty sure he knows that there's others out there. Because now that he's reconnected with the Force, he can reach out and try to find others in the Force. Uh, am I just grasping at straws here? Like,
No, I mean, he should have kept the holocron because it would have been a lot easier than trying to reach out through the Force. You know exactly where to go. I mean, look, I mean, the twist ending for me, like, I can understand it, but at the same time, it's like this entire game was built up to you finding the holocron.
Yeah.
And then you just destroy it. And you're just kind of like, okay, so maybe the main goal of this game wasn't to find the holocron, but maybe restore that confidence inside Cal Kestis, which, okay, if that is what it's going to be, then that's fine. But I mean, to me, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending of destroying the holocron, but I can understand why. If he kept the holocron and they had a list of force sensitive people, then like Luke kind of discovering, this ancient religion through Obi-Wan all these years later, wouldn't make too much sense if there was already a list and an academy already pre-built prior to all of that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also there's just so much danger. Like I feel like he makes the adult decision in this sense.
Yeah, he
Like
does.
it's almost like a coming of age game in a sense. Like he's making that adult decision because if they were to get captured something and they barely made it out at the end of the game, then every one of those goes to the Empire side and it becomes a completely different story for the for everything really. So yeah, I think it's really the coming of age stuff they kind of tap into that with that ending.
And then Cal did discuss things with his crew. I remember they talked about it like, we're gonna give these people a chance to make their own destiny and stuff like that. So I was like, I kind of see where you're going at, and I was upset too, John. Like I was like, we could have used some of that information, but I kind of get what you're saying because again, you're pretty much a target on. You have a target on your back now.
Yeah.
The Empire knows you're alive, and
Right.
stuff again. I get it, especially since you saved your mentor. So it's kind of a hit or miss and stuff like that. So I guess at this point, if ever the second game, and you know what, I'm gonna go all technical and give a huge shout out to Stig Asmussen, the game director, because not only he directed this game, Fallen Order, he also directed God of War. Help with Corey, help direct with Corey Barlog. So again, like we'll see where the story goes because like he did ask the crew what's next, where you guys want to go from there. And I was thinking like, hey, if this is a chance to meet up with anybody and stuff, I mean, in the Fallen Order, you were able to meet up with Saul Guerrera, Forrest Whitaker's character for the first time and stuff, and some other characters. I believe I'm trying to remember because I played and beat it like years ago, and I'm replaying
Vader's
it again.
in there too.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the run, which was like
when Vader showed up.
Oh man,
I was like, Dad's home. Let's go.
But like, I didn't like that.
What?
What? Hold on. Okay.
He made like a 30-second cameo, and you're like, I don't like that.
I just felt like, and Joey, I think you and I have talked about this. I just don't think, or I might have talked about this with somebody. I don't think he needed to be there for you to like really feel his presence. Because because you can feel his presence throughout the game, right?
Yes.
But I don't think he needs to be there at the end. As much as I love that Vader scene in Rogue One, to me it felt too much like that in this.
To be fair, John, you can agree with me, but I'm gonna bring up another game. You guys remember Prince of Persia?
Yeah.
The second Prince of Persia game, right?
Yeah.
I forgot what the title. The second one, like,
I know what you're talking about.
Like Warrior Within, I think. I think that's it, Warrior Within. You remember the run against the Dark Spirit and stuff like that. That brought back memories when you had to run it away from Vader. Like I was like that moment, like, especially since like just because you're a Jedi, that's a real Jedi, former Jedi right there. You're gonna die, kid. Like you better go. Like that was a heart pounding moment. Like I was like,
I'm sorry. I just,
oh, dude.
I liked it, Eric. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head though. And what you don't like it, but I think this is why they did it was the whole Rogue One comparison. To be honest,
that too.
I saw that, and I see that.
And I think like if the entire game had Vader in it, then yes, I think that would be overdone. But the fact that it was a very short appearance at the end, and all it was a mad dash away from Vader.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the right amount of Vader. Just like in Rogue One, like you said, bringing that up in comparison, it was the hallway scene, him slashing and dashing his way through the hallway, and then him looking at the ship as it goes away with Princess Leia and the information on the Death Star. And that was it. Like if all of Rogue One had Vader appearances in it also, then you're just going to be like, okay, it's like every other Star Wars movie that's just using Vader as a crutch. Vader was just used as a way to kind of like cap it off at the end that like, Cal Kestis went from this kid in a junkyard,
Yeah.
taking down ships to rediscovering himself as a Jedi, relearning everything he has and realizing he has a mission. And that mission is OMG Darth Vader. And it's like, it just kind of brings it full circle.
Yeah.
Kind of like how the same thing with the story with Luke is his story full circle is essentially, helping Anakin come back to the good, the good, the light side of the Force and helping bring balance to the Force. Like that was the whole story for that kind of thing. I just feel like it just wrapped it up quite nicely.
I
No.
think. Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead,
I
Greg.
was about to say, like, now you guys got me thinking now, because if I can compare now, because we obviously you can't play, you know, you can't control a movie and stuff. You got to watch it. But if you're playing a video game as the player, you're going to be controlling the main character, of course. With split second decisions, quick time events, all that. Because it got me thinking now. Like, see, now we have to draw the comparison between a video game and a movie franchise and a movie itself, because it got me bringing back memories of Episode 3 when we first see Anakin inside the suit as Darth Vader. Now you brought up Rogue One, which was amazing, the amazing hallway fight. I feel like that was Respawn's answer, like, hey, we're gonna give you something sort of like those two events, but in a video game format. Does that make sense? Like, hold up, like, instead of you watching it, you're actually trying to survive this moment as a player, So I was like, okay, so I kind of know what you're saying, Eric. I'm like, I understand, but again, it was one of those cool moments, like, especially for a video game.
Yeah. Don't get
Well,
me
I think
wrong.
it's a big Easter egg too, though. Like
Yeah,
one of the,
true.
like you're
Yeah.
experiencing it, but it's also like you've gone through a game where you really don't know most of these characters from anything else. So how can we tie this back in? Like obviously lightsabers are one way in these planets, but throwing someone like Vader, something that iconic in, I think helps tie it up a little bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a really cool sequence. I just personally didn't like the choice.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I mean, I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be
I mean,
wrong.
No.
It's just-
You're not wrong.
No.
It's
I would have
just,
preferred
I
Sith
mean,
Jar Jar Binks or like Darth Jar Jar at the end there, but we all can't.
I'm
get
gonna
what we
kill
want,
you
know?
now.
Oh my
Here's
gosh.
little orphan Annie. But there's one thing that I really wanted or that I want as this franchise expands, and because EA says they want to expand this franchise, and I can tell that Respawn wants to do it, but do it in the right way. And that is, I want more of Cordova and his research on the Zepho and like the temples on Bogano and stuff like that, because to me, I mean, I love Cal Kestis. I absolutely love every character introduced in this, but he was actually like my favorite character because he provides a lot of just this world building within this game that you weren't expecting to see. And it feels like it's Mass Effect in a way. It feels like it's Uncharted in a way by talking about, oh, wait, you mean that there was an ancient civilization before what we see now? Cool. Show me more of that research. Now that could be like in a book or whatever, but I don't know. I'd kind of play that Uncharted-esque game with, Cordova and BD1 and just discovering this for the first time. That's just one of my observations for this.
So you're a big fan of Force pushing those balls into those little caveats to unlock everything in the temple, and oh, you got to send it around this ramp and open up the this wall so it gusts wind and so it jumps over.
That was the worst puzzle solving in that game. That was the worst puzzle solving.
I thought it was too easy.
Yeah.
Like in all honesty, like I didn't think it was a challenge at all. Like you just look at it and you're like, okay.
The puzzles.
You shove a ball there. The ball goes around this. There's this obvious ramp that goes around with a 45-degree launch angle. So obviously the ball is going to have to go around there. Like I just thought it was all too predictable and too easy in that part of the game.
I think
keep in mind, John, there's a lot of like children playing this game too.
I don't
you have to make it somewhat reasonable.
Star Wars is not for children, Joey.
No, it's not. Allocation of trade routes, Joey.
Last time I
Oh,
checked, Princess Leia was chained up with Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, have an 8-year-old explain that.
Yeah, that one did not get its Peggy 16 rating or whatever.
No, it did not. But I think like the puzzles that were challenging were the ones where Cal is trying to get the Kyber crystal again.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
those were
those
the
were
most
tough.
challenging puzzles. Um, the stuff on Dathomir, I love that. Like I would love a spin-off just on Dathomir and just explore that planet for forever.
That planet
If
was so creepy.
oh, it was,
Mhm.
but
I
it's
yeah,
loved
so
it. Like
good.
yeah.
it was the first level
Oh,
in a game in a long time that gave me like those creepy vibes. I was
Mhm.
like, ooh, I don't feel safe here. Like I
Yeah.
know it's a game, but I actually don't feel safe right now.
And when
And
everything
that's
would like
cool.
pop out at you for like, I mean,
Oh,
you would just turn a corner and then like the music would just change real quick, and then you'd
so
see
annoying.
those you'd see just like all those enemies show up. Oh man. I'll hack and slash through stormtroopers any day, but Dathomir, whoo, that was rough.
If you guys haven't already and you go back to play it, you should try to find the 4 legendary beasts as well. There's one on every
yeah.
one of the planets, and they're pretty cool.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
There
gosh.
was because there's the one on Kashyyyk because that deals with the tree. There's the one on Dathomir when you're climbing.
Well, so no, those are not. These are like hidden. These do not
Oh,
come with the main
really?
storyline.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's 4 hidden beast things.
Huh. I have to
But
look
to
that up.
100% the game, which is kind of like what I've been working on, you have to find all 4. But there's 4. It's like Dathomir, Bogano, Zepho, and Kashyyyk, I think, are the 4 planets that have them.
Okay.
I don't know, it's the big frog behind those pipes, right?
The big frog is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took that down. Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Giant
that one was
frog.
the easiest to find.
Yeah.
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 In the big pit.
Ah, the big pit.
The big pit.
So, do we have anything else? I know we're over 2 hours here, and it seems like all of our shows are over 2 hours nowadays.
This was fun. No, again,
It's
Yeah.
this was
Star Wars. It
fun.
doesn't
Yeah,
feel like
it's
2
Star Wars.
hours.
No, it really doesn't. Um, so do we have anything else to add about Fallen Order? Like, do you have any final thoughts? What do we want to see out of a Fallen Order sequel? I know I've shared some thoughts on that, but go ahead. Pitch your Fallen Order dream sequel.
More
I mean,
planet.
honestly, I'm just a huge Zambella fan, and I think
Yeah.
whatever he's going to put together, I'll be happy to play. Like, I was a big Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare player. He was the big head at that time, made his way over here to EA, and I think he just continues to do magical work over here. So I'm going to just leave it completely up for grabs. But there is a Fallen Order sequel in the works, and EA has not officially confirmed it, but they kind of did on an earnings call on accident. So we'll see what that ends up looking like eventually.
Yeah, I agree. Respawn Entertainment did a great job. Again, it was a risky play, I'll admit,
Yeah.
because we know them for Titanfall, and they're still making, of course, obviously Apex Legends and stuff, which is 2 huge games. But for them to enter the Star Wars world, especially since they made, they left the Call of Duty behind, and they wanted to make some new franchises. This is definitely, again, people were worried, but in the end, it made what, 20 million in sales when it comes to the games itself, right? From
Yeah,
what
I know it
was
sold over 10
ridiculous.
million copies. I don't know how much it made.
Yeah, see, I mean, again, it's this is a good opportunity for them to release a sequel. There's no way a sequel is not going to be made at this point. I mean, obviously they made the mistake of saying it in the earnings call, and all I want to see more planets and more new enemies, because again, it's one of those tricky games where it's like risk and reward games. Like if you want to take it on, like you want to rest, you want to keep going and stuff like that. However, if you rest, enemies respawn or and stuff. If you die, this person has all your experience that you hardly earned, that you earned so hard for. And so we'll see where it goes. Again, it's all in their hands. Again, if they can get Adamson to come back as game director, I'm all in. I am definitely all in.
And the other thing to say, just before we hop over to John, this game has changed the way EA thinks about games as well. Because of the success of Fallen Order, Dragon Age is not going to be like an MMO. Mass Effect is not going to be like an online-based game. they're going to allow them to do RPGs because of the success of this game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
John?
Original storyline: Cal Kestis goes to the dark side. Never been done before in Star Wars. It's exactly what's gonna happen.
There's a dark side?
Yeah, so what I would like to see is that exploration of, what happens post Order 66 in this world.
Yeah.
I want to see him meet up with other, rogue Jedis, rogue Padawans, just maybe coming across one here or there. I think that's where Ahsoka coming in would be a really big thing. That would be a familiar name for a lot of Star Wars fans to kind of get hooked on, in a sequel. And just kind of like exploring what is the mission of the Jedi now that the Republic has fallen. That there is no Jedi Order, there's no governing body for the Jedi anymore. It's pretty much every man and woman for themselves, and
Yeah.
Gungdan and everything else. What is that next step? I think exploring that would be very interesting.
I mean, I would say don't sleep on the Bad Batch appearing either.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of crossover there either.
I would also say Kanan would be an interesting one to bring in
No.
too. You don't want Sup Blabba?
I don't need 80-year-old Freddie Prinze Jr. coming in and playing a teenager.
Oh, wow.
In Fallen Order 2.
I brought
Especially
reinforcements.
First off, the way he talks about Star Wars fans kind of pisses me off. Like, I get it. Like, there's some toxic pockets to every community,
Yeah.
but like he's got some hate in his heart for people in Star Wars. I just don't like it.
Fair enough. Anything else before we wrap things up?
Just get a different voice actor and I'm fine.
Okay. Well, Kanan can show up, but it's got to be D. Bradley Baker.
Fine with that too.
Yeah, me too. So we talked Star Wars video games. We talked about some of our favorites. We didn't cover every video game because, let's face it, there's way too many Star Wars video games to talk about. We covered some highlights for us. We reminisced. We talked about, for those of you that are younger than 30, um, we talked about the kiosks and playing demos there and everything. This was just such a fun discussion, guys, and I just want to go over our announcements real quick before we leave. Once again, next week is our High Republic extravaganza, where we are going to be covering Wave 1 and Wave 2 of the High Republic. We're still in Phase 1. We still have a lot of story to go here, but we've had a lot go on. So if you're reading anything with the High Republic, or if you're waiting to jump in, now is the time to do so. These are fantastic stories, and I hope that you guys, come by for that. So we have that. 2 weeks from now is our RPG show. That is going to be a lot of fun. I am going to get with these guys this week about character creation. We are going to be doing some character creations, not on stream. We're going to do that privately, but we're going to get all of our characters together. And then for next week, that is going to kick off our RPG show. That is going to be, we're aiming for twice a month, but if we have to do once a month for the foreseeable future, we will do that towards the end of the month. Our DC Fandom panel is going to be, or our DC Fandom show is October 16th. And then we are going to be doing some spooky themed Star Wars stuff for the month of October as well, counting down like scariest Star Wars moments, all that stuff. So we have a lot going on here with our podcast. We are slowly growing. I want to thank John. I want to thank Joey. I want to thank Greg again for joining us. These guys were amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us. Our chat, you guys are amazing. You are the reason why we do this. We love hanging out with you. We love interacting with you. Well, our love for Star Wars is also why we do this. But that's it for us. Once again, may you always fight for light in life. May the Force always be with you. And at the end of the day, except for one person in this chat, I'm not going to mention their name. Okay, fine. At the end of the day, except for John, we're all the Republic. So
Or
that's
the
it
Empire.
for the Empire. That's it for us. Um, have a good week, everybody. We will see you next.